from Yankee Stadium in New York, it's ESPN Sunday Night Baseball. I'm John Miller, and we were hoping to be in New York this week with the red-hot Yankees, the world champion Blue Jays. We were looking forward to it, but now the strike is in its third day. So we said, let's go find Michael Jordan, find out how he's doing. Well, life has played another little joke against us. Michael is hurt. So we've got the Memphis Chicks, the Birmingham Barons. It's the only game in town, and it's Elvis week. Welcome to Memphis. This is Tim McCarver Stadium in Memphis, Tennessee, where tonight we take a look at Southern League action as the Birmingham Barons meet the Memphis Chicks. Hello, everyone. I'm John Miller, along with Joe Morgan, Hall of Famer. Say, didn't you used to be in the big leagues?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, you used to be. We all used to be. But now we're down here in the Southern League. We're just glad to be working. We came down here because we'd heard so many good things about some of these top young players, like pitcher Mike Bertotti and also Dilson Torres. So we came down here, Joe, to take a look, didn't we?
Yeah, but what about Michael?
Yeah, and Michael Jordan, too, yeah. That was another reason we came down. Actually, it was the reason we came down. However, he's not playing, Joe. He got hurt.
Well, he injured himself on this play. He made a dive for the ball. Now, watch, he'll dive. Watch his left shoulder as it hits the ground. Complete jarring of the body there, and he hurt his shoulder, and he's out. We don't know how long he's going to be out. We know he's not playing tonight.
Doctor says maybe a partial tear in the rotator cuff, maybe worse than that. We'll find out tomorrow. Now, we do have some very fine young talent in this ball game, but we'll also be hearing from big leaguers like Tony Gwynn. Jeff Bagwell will be joining us. Brett Butler also will be hearing from him, as well as covering the Michael Jordan story in detail. In fact, in a moment, Joe Morgan will be visiting with Michael Jordan when we return to Memphis. Stay with us. John Miller back here in Memphis. Joe Morgan just a few moments ago had a chance to visit with Michael Jordan.
Thank you, John. I'm here with Michael Jordan, who needs no introduction. Michael, the first thing I want to ask you, Ted Williams says hitting a baseball is the toughest thing in any sport to do. You played a few months of minor league baseball now. How do you feel about that statement?
I think it's really tough. I think what's eliminated is the mental aspect. You know, getting up there and trying to, get yourself in a mental situation where you know what's coming, you know how to react to what's coming, and it's true. I really think that's very difficult. But I haven't played baseball for 15 years, so it's a lot more difficult for me now than even if I would have played those 15 years.
But the thing that impresses me the most, Michael, it seems like you're having fun.
That's one thing I wanted to do. I wanted to have a good time. I think I put in a lot of work, but at the same time, I enjoy what I'm doing. And even though I haven't had the success of a lot of people, I've enjoyed what I've done thus far, and I think that's a credit to the game of baseball itself.
You know, Michael, I hit 190 my first 2 months in the minor leagues, and I made it to the major leagues. So you still have a chance if you're willing to pay that price. How long do you think you would be willing to pay the price in the minor leagues?
Well, hopefully, if I stay healthy, I just want to take it year by year, and hopefully my progress continues to improve. I mean, the White Sox have given me an opportunity to invest a certain, monies in me, and I want to continue to give it hard work and work in the summertime, the wintertime, whatever they decide they want me to do. And if they don't think I have the capabilities, then thanks for the opportunity, and I can walk away. But as long as they see progress in my potential, then I want to continue on as far as I can take it.
Well, baseball is a series of adjustments. You have to make adjustments each at bat, each pitch. What has been the major adjustment you've had to make since you started opening day here?
Well, I think one thing that I've learned, it comes in stages. The first stage, I think everyone wanted to see if my bat speed was quick enough to catch up to the fastball. Once I became a little bit better at, picking up the fastball and getting that bat speed up, the curveball started to come. So, it's been a big difference for me to try to make that adjustment. I think the biggest problem that I deal with right now is the pitch recognition, seeing the spin and whatever, and that's something that comes in experience. I can't say that I can do that or learn that in a period of time. You have to do and see so many different pitches so many times that you react differently and you react very confidently to each pitch.
You played in high school, you played a game here once a week, or maybe twice a week. In the minor leagues, you're playing almost every day. How has that been?
I like it because if you have a bad day, you have the chance to come back and redeem yourself the next day. very quickly. And so that bad day get out of your mind very quickly. If you have another bad day, then it builds up. You know, that's the mental aspect that you have to deal with in baseball. And I like it. I really enjoy being competitive every day. It's a great atmosphere.
I'm happy for you, Mike. Thanks for being on the show with me today. Back up to you, John.
All right, Joe, and also thanks to Michael Jordan. There is Terry Francona, the Birmingham manager, and he seems to be a rising star in the Chicago White Sox scheme of things. Here's his batting order. Speedster Doug Brady leads off at second base. Glenn DeSarcina, younger brother of the California Angels shortstop, is at shortstop here. Mike Robertson at first. Shane Turner, been in the big leagues before, third base. Kerry Valerie, another stolen base leader, in center field. Kevin Coughlin in right field. It'll be Randy Hood in left field. Troy Fryman, younger brother of Travis, the DH. And Chris Tremmy is the catcher, hitting ninth. On the mound for the Memphis Chicks is Dilson Torres, and he has been something special since they picked him up.
Well, they say he throws a lot of different pitches, variety of pitches, changes speeds well. The only question mark is whether his fastball is good enough to make it to the major leagues.
So here we go. Doug Brady leads it off, and the first pitch is in there for a called strike.
Pretty good fastball there, John.
88 miles an hour on our Jugs gun. Now, Doug Brady hitting .251, 3 home runs, 41 RBIs, and he has 30 stolen bases, which is third best in the Southern League. And it is 0-2. They have been working with him on being a little more patient, as Terry Francona thinks that he can be a leadoff man in the big leagues, but he needs to start drawing a few more walks. Maybe he needs to talk with you a little bit, Joe.
You know, one of the great things that you have when you play for someone like Terry Francona is that he knows what it takes to get to the big leagues, and he can have you work on those aspects of your game.
That is foul. Just barely foul. And on down the right field line. Still 0-2 to Doug Brady. Now, Tim McCarver Stadium, pretty good hitter's ballpark. It is only 398 feet to straightaway center field here. 323 down the left field line, and down the right field line, 325. And the power alleys are very reachable, so shallow that they don't even list the distances to the power alleys at left and right center. 0-2 to Doug Brady. Struck him out with a good slider right under the hands.
And let's take a look at the Memphis Chicks defense for this ball game. There you see Hyatt in right, Burton in center, Norman in left, Carabello is at third, Halter at short, Mota, Manny Mota's son, is at second, Canale at first, Strickland behind the plate, and on the mound, Torres.
One out, nobody on, and here is Gary DeSarcina's kid brother, Glenn. Glenn DeSarcina, unlike his brother Gary, a left-handed hitter. That's the first baseman, Canale. 4 out, number 2. DeSarcina hitting .249 with 5 home runs coming in. So 2 men gone quickly for the Birmingham Barons, and that will bring up Mike Robertson, who is probably the best hitter on the team, according to Terry Francona. He had such a great start this year that after the first few weeks they sent him up to AAA, but then he wasn't playing a whole lot there, sitting, so they decided to send him back here to AA, where he could play every day. And you see how well he's hit here, .333 with 3 homers, 25 RBI. Nobody in this club has many home runs, and the ball is low. The Birmingham ballpark, where they play their home games, is the toughest park in which to hit in this league, and ever since it opened, batting averages, home run hitting, everything is lower there. You see here, they've only hit 10 home runs at home the whole year. Looked like a split-fingered pitch.
Yeah, he's throwing 88 mile an hour, been consistently at that number with his fastball, and that was an 83 mile an hour off-speed pitch. I'm not so sure he doesn't have a good enough fastball, John. You can get the breaking ball over, makes your fastball about 5 miles an hour faster anyway.
It's the old story. It's not how hard you throw.
Right.
It's where you throw it.
Yeah, where you throw it and how much movement you have on the fastball. Looks like he has good movement. He's jammed 2 hitters so far in this ball game.
35 innings this year. Well, you see there his numbers. Only 24 hits. I think that's a split-fingered pitch he's throwing there, Joe. What do you think?
Looks like it is moving down and away from the left-handed hitter. Plus the speed is different. But it's pretty hard. So it probably is a split-fingered fastball. It is 87 miles an hour.
Now he's 4-0, 1.57 ERA, 35 innings now, including the 2 outs here, and only 24 hits allowed. And he throws strikes. A little bit low there, 89 miles an hour. 2-2 the count. We'll flash in the jugs gun from time to time. 31 strikeouts for this guy, only 5 walks, which is outstanding at this level. Mike Robertson trying to get aboard. 2 down, nobody on. Again, now, tonight, we're going to be covering the Michael Jordan story. We've got videotape, Michael's home runs. We're going to take a look at him in the spring, see the progress he's made from then till now. Swing and a miss with that slider. He struck him out, and that is the inning. 3 up and 3 down, and Memphis is coming up. Ron Johnson, the manager of the Memphis Chicks, kind of a colorful character in these parts. And also his ball club battling for a spot in the Southern League playoff. Johnson heading over to the third base coach's box. Here's his lineup. Domingo Mota, second base. Shane Halter at shortstop. Bill Hyatt, former Kansas City Royal, in right field. Les Norman, a prospect, in left field. Andy Stewart just up from A-ball to DH. Chad Strickland, the catcher, hitting sixth. George Canale once hit an upper deck home run at Yankee Stadium for Milwaukee, first base. Gary Caraballo is at third base. And Darren Burton, very, very young and inexperienced, but extremely talented, is in center field. And there's the pitcher for Birmingham, Mike Bertotti. And Joey, he's a strikeout artist.
Well, he throws hard, John. He doesn't have great command of his breaking pitches yet, but he has an excellent fastball. And most of all, he's left-handed. Anytime you're left-handed and you throw hard, you have a chance.
Well, his manager, Terry Francona, thinks that he is the best left-handed pitching prospect in the White Sox organization. Domingo Mota. Oh, he got that one at 92 miles an hour. Got some smoke on that one. Foul tip, strike one. Domingo hitting 250. His biggest problem, Joe, the son of Manny Mota, longtime big leaguer, has been staying healthy.
He suffered a lot of injuries. He has a lot of potential. Late on that 92-mile-an-hour fastball there. He looks like Manny Mota, bigger, obviously, physique-wise, but he just looks like him. I mean, he's built more stoutly, I should say, not bigger, taller. Got a good number on him, though. I think that works for a second baseman anyway.
You see, he had a terrible start this year, but hitting .325 the last month. That fastball is inside. You see the reading from the jugs gun. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Domingo Mota. No score in the game. We are in Memphis, not Yankee Stadium. The strike is still on. We're in the Southern League tonight. Changed up on him and missed with it. 2-2 the count. We were hoping to be bringing you the world champion Jays and the first place Yankees tonight. But they're all sitting home just like you are, watching us. This is the only ball game in town. Robertson to Bertotti covering, and there is one away.
Well, Bertotti's throwing awfully hard. All his pitches have been clocked at 92 miles an hour. It's a fastball in on the hands. Very good pitch. Mota gets jammed, hits a weak ground ball to first base. I'm going to be honest with you, John. I'm impressed with both of these pitchers so far. The power of Bertotti and the craftiness of Torres.
Here is Shane Halter hitting .232. Down and in, ball 1.
And we've seen a lot of pitchers, especially this year and the last couple of years, make the jump from Double-A all the way to the big leagues.
And there's the mascot of the Chicks, Joe. Swing and a miss again with the 92-mile-an-hour heat. 1 ball, 1 strike to Shane Halter, the number 2 hitter in the order. And his manager, Ron Johnson, says that if he's going to make it to the big leagues, it'll be as a number 2 type hitter, a guy who hits behind runners, bunts well, go to the right side. He bunts at that one, but fouls it back.
Right on cue.
Thank you, Shane. You can just go ahead and swing away now. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Hey, they got a ballpark organist, Joe.
I'm glad they don't have a camera in the booth.
People doing the Sports Center theme down there. Too high. 2-2 to Halter. Phil Hyatt is on deck, and he is the best player in this team. He's the one with the big league experience, great power. 1 out, nobody out. Struck him out, and he just powered it right by him.
And he has an excellent fastball, and he kind of suspect tonight because he hurt his ankle. He twisted his right ankle a couple of weeks ago, and he hadn't pitched in 10 days, but that's a perfect pitch. Fastball low and away.
Mike Bertotti. 2 down, nobody on. Here is Phil Hyatt coming up against Bertotti now. Changed up on him, and it is foul down the left field line. Now, one man we were hoping to see tonight, but who is not in the lineup, is that man, Michael Jordan. And, John, I get the feeling from your chat with him that he's not done yet with this.
No, he isn't. And I think every big leaguer that has any doubts about Michael Jordan's intentions need to sit down and talk to him. I was very enlightened talking to him before the game and in the clubhouse. He is really ecstatic about what he's doing. I mean, he loves what he's doing, and he's made a commitment to do a good job. I know there are a lot of big leaguers who question his motives or whatever. I'm here to tell you that his motives are all positive, and they're all in the right direction. He just loves to play baseball, like most of the big leaguers do.
He's been nothing but a plus to this team, this league, and this game. Check swing. And this is Robertson for the unassisted put out. Hyatt retired. That's the inning. A scoreless first inning. The pitchers off to excellent beginnings. We'll be back. Score from Memphis. Birmingham coming up here in the second inning. Michael Jordan hitting 192. We talked to the Dodgers. Brett Butler, he wasn't pro Jordan.
I think he's a great basketball player. As a hitter, I think that you have to start out as a youngster and develop into it. Michael Jordan is not even hitting 200. I think it's a great thought process that he's gone through to try to do something for his father. But Michael, give it up. Go back and play basketball where you belong.
All right, so obviously Brett Butler is not rooting for Michael.
Well, again, John, I think if he sits down and talks to Michael, I think he would probably change his mind. Although everyone's entitled to their own opinion.
I mean, it was controversial. I mean, Sports Illustrated did a whole cover.
I thought, yeah, I didn't
Air
like that
Jordan,
at all.
right?
Yeah.
Air ERR. And the tenor of the article was, hey, Michael, hang him up. The batter is Kerry Valerie. He takes a called strike after the single by Shane Turner. Veteran, well-traveled fellow's been up in the big leagues as well. Turner's at first base. And here is Valerie. Now, he's one of the prospects, hitting 291. There's Turner at first. Valerie with 28 steals. And he's been playing right alongside Michael Jordan all year. Jordan was a right fielder most of the year, and then lately has been moved over to left field. But Valerie all along has been the center fielder. And it was interesting. He said it's been a give and take with Michael. He says Michael's given him some things because of his experience in the NBA, of the travel and the mental aspects of playing professional sports every day. And Valerie says, conversely, he's been able to give Michael a few tips on playing hitters and getting a jump on a ball and that sort of thing.
Of course, Michael Jordan's in a learning situation, so any help that he can get, I'm sure he appreciates. But one thing I want to tell you, it's not easy to walk in and hit 200 or 250 or 300 in Double-A, especially when you haven't played baseball for a long period of time. And as I said in my interview with Michael, I got off to a slow start my first couple of months playing in the minor leagues. And I made it to the big leagues. So it's just a matter of adjusting to playing baseball every day. This is his first time of doing that.
Slider for the strikeout and the throw to first. And Turner makes it back.
I can see a lot of right-handers going to have a lot of trouble with Torres because he knows how to pitch. He runs the ball in with the fastball, and he throws the sliders away. And you could see Valerie chase that slider away, but it was set up by a couple of fastballs in.
This is Kevin Coughlin, 23 years old, from Wheaton, Maryland. Went to Damascus High School in Maryland. And just like Michael Jordan, played basketball and baseball in high school. The comparison ends after that until the fact that they are both playing here for Birmingham.
And another thing about Jordan's batting average, John, you also mentioned how tough it was to hit in Birmingham's ballpark. That is, you know, the averages were lower, and the home run output is tough. So he's not hitting in an ideal situation. But there you see his numbers.
George Canale makes the play unassisted as Shane Turner moves over to second base. Well, we heard from Brett Butler, sort of anti-Michael Jordan. What does Bo Jackson have to say about Michael in baseball?
You can't dog him because at least he is out there trying. You have people that sit up on the sofa and watch TV, and they're professional critics, they're professional baseball players, and say, oh, this guy can't do this, or this guy, he can't do that. Just sit back, shut up, and watch the TV and have another beer or whatever.
Well said.
Well, Bo seems to have some very strong feelings about it. Of course, Bo went through some of the same things.
Right.
It was a different kind of a thing with Bo in two sports, obviously, because he was already an established football player who started playing baseball much younger than Michael. But he had his critics for playing both sports, and of course, he feels very strongly about the people who are criticizing Michael Jordan. Next, we'll just have to get Brett Butler and Bo Jackson in the studio together with Pat Buchanan or somebody and have the crossfire.
No, we've got a better guy coming up. We got Jeff Bagwell coming up. I tell you what, he'll give an honest opinion. We'll see what Bagwell thinks.
Jeff Bagwell is going to join us live via satellite from his home in Houston in just a little bit. He's standing by right now watching the telecast at home.
You mentioned Bo Jackson. He hit his first professional home run in this ballpark.
Way outside. This AAA, or rather AA club, Memphis, the Chicks, is the Kansas City Royals AA ball club. And, of course, Bo Jackson came up with Kansas City, and after he was signed, he came down here and played for a while. In fact, later on in the telecast, Joe, you know, if you're nice to me, I might even show you Bo's first home run
Okay, I'd
here.
like to see that.
Yeah, if you're real nice to me.
All right, I'll be nice. Let's do that. Not for myself, but for the people at home. I think they'd like to see it, too.
I can't make that decision just like that, you know. 1-2 the count, and it's outside. All right, you've been real nice to me.
All right.
Bo Jackson's first home run, July 16th, 1986.
And as usual, he crushes it. Touch them all, Bo.
Yep.
Touch them all.
Put it on the board. Yes.
There's the spot. You see, they even got it marked out there where it landed.
A famous spot in the bleachers. And there's ball three, blocked nicely by the catcher, Chad Strickland. 3-2 the count to Randy Hood.
Excellent play here by Strickland. Now watch, he drops down right in front of it, takes it off the right arm. That's what catchers are supposed to do.
He looked like Tony Meola in the World Cup there. Randy Hood, 26 years of age. In fact, just turned 26. He's from Goldsboro, North Carolina. Went to Campbell University. Had been in the Milwaukee system. Runner at second. No score in the game. Into right center field. This is Hyatt, and that is the inning. One hit, one left. We're heading to the last of the second inning, and Jeff Bagwell will be joining us when we come back. Stay tuned. John Miller with Joe Morgan. Ordinarily, this would be Sunday night baseball from New York, but tonight, because of the strike, we're in Memphis and in Houston. Joining us now via satellite is Jeff Bagwell with a shot at the Triple Crown, but that doesn't look too good on that left hand. How you doing, Jeff?
I'm doing fine. How you guys doing tonight?
All right. Well, here we go now. Les Norman is the hitter, and we'll be watching the action as Mike Bertotti on the mound for Birmingham. But what's the prognostication now, Jeff? When should you be ready to play baseball again?
Well, they told me 3 to 5 weeks. I'm counting more on the 3 weeks. Hopefully, I'll be ready to play by Labor Day, 1st of September, somewhere around there.
Well, it may be that long before they get back anyway, Jeff. You also went down last year toward the end of the season. You got hit on the hand.
Yeah, it seems like I'm trying to break all the bones in my body here. I broke the 5th metacarpal last year. Now I broke the 4th this year. So hopefully it doesn't. The streak doesn't continue.
1 ball, 1 strike to Les Norman here. No score in the game. We're in the last of the 2nd inning. Now, Jeff, I mean, you are heading toward a shot at a triple crown, which hasn't been done in the National League in nearly 60 years. I mean, look at the batting average. Tony Gwynn ahead of you there. Williams a little bit ahead of you in home runs, and then nobody near you in the National League in RBIs. I mean, what a disappointment to go down with the injury with the season like that.
Yeah, I think the main disappointment is probably that we're a half game behind the Reds right now. Not so much my season. Half game, and that I can't play for 3 weeks. That kind of hurts a little bit because I want to be there to try and help us get back into first place.
What about the pitch that hit you? I mean, did you feel like Bennis was thrown at you?
No, he was just trying to pitch me in. I'd take a couple bad swings beforehand, and he just threw another fastball up and in. It was the same thing as last year, and I didn't get out of the way and hit me in the same spot, and I was just hoping that bones were strong enough to stand the pain in the pitch, and it just didn't work. I didn't think it was broke at first, though.
Well, you stayed in the ball game, so you must have thought it was okay. Let me ask you a question. You've been hit there twice in the last couple of years, and I'm sure there have been a few other close calls. Do you feel like you dive into the pitch more than you should, or is it just a matter of not being able to get out of the way of those 2 pitches?
Actually, this year I think I've not made an effort, but I don't think I've been diving as much as I used to. I think when I was my first couple years in the big leagues, I think I dove a lot because my stance was a little different. This year, I don't do it as much, and I think at the 2 times that I got hit in '93 and '94 is when I wasn't really seeing the ball that well at the particular at bat. And I probably did maybe dive, or I just didn't pick the ball up real well, and I didn't get out of the way like I usually would.
Now, Jeff, can you do us all a favor and hold out your left hand so we can all see it and get a look at that cast?
Right here?
Yeah.
Yeah, see?
Yeah, now, what's the reasoning behind that? Just to immobilize it?
Yeah, just so I don't bang it against or anything or damage it. I can just take this thing off at any point. As a matter of fact, I don't even wear it that much. I probably shouldn't say that, but, I just wear it when I go to bed or something like that. But other than that,
the catcher, number 18,
just waiting the time.
All right. Now, I noticed you put it on, though, before you came on our Sunday night telecast here. That was
well,
very
that's
good.
right. I'm afraid my doctor might be watching. He'll call me up and yell at me.
All right, Michael Jordan playing baseball. Your thoughts?
Well, I'll tell you what. I laughed a lot when I heard Bo. that was pretty funny. But, I'm impressed that he's given the opportunity and given the chance and stuck with it so far. To hit 190 is, is no fun, as they say, to be on the interstate and things like that. The only thing is Michael, it gets tougher. I went from AA to the big leagues. I was fortunate, and it doesn't get any easier. But I gotta admire his tenacity and still trying to do it. And the only thing is that, he's 30, I think he's 31 now, so, it's going to be tough, because he is still learning, and it takes a while to learn things. And, I'm still learning, and I've been playing this all my life. So it's a tough battle, and but if there's probably no better athlete in the world than Michael Jordan, so if anybody could probably do it, it would be him.
But, so you're not saying Michael give it up like Brett Butler's saying. I mean, no. That's not what you're saying. You're just skeptical that at this age that he's going to be able to actually make something happen. Yeah,
because it's kind of, Joe can tell you, as long as you play the game, I don't think you ever master the game of baseball. If you hit 300, you're considered one of the better hitters in the league, and that's failing 7 out of 10 times. So it's a tough road, and it really is, and it doesn't get any easier. And once you get to the big leagues, they have things called advanced scouts, and they start finding ways to get you out even more. And it's a lot of adjustments that have to be made. But, it's tough to bet against a guy like Michael Jordan after seeing what he's done in the NBA. But, again, this isn't the NBA.
All right, now we've got 2 outs here, and Chad Strickland has just signaled. Jeff, maybe you could comment on Michael's swing. His left side there is spring training. This is just the other day. See if he can... Well,
he's trying to start with his weight back and then come into the ball. Before, I think he was starting pretty square and then trying to make the weight transfer, and that's just spring training. So, he's making adjustments. That's a positive thing.
Right.
And he'll start feeling comfortable more and more with every at-bat.
Now, that's just one swing you saw, but what do you think from what you saw there?
Well,
do you like his form? Do you like his style?
Yeah, well, my form's a lot different than that. I got the kind of uppercut. He's got that downswing. I like guys that spread out a little bit more, but hitting is so individual that I can't really say, well, that's the way to swing and that's not the way to swing. Everybody's got different different swings because otherwise everybody, you know, would have the same stance. So, you know, if Michael feels comfortable that way, then that's the way you should go about doing things.
All right, George Canale, by the way, the hitter, former big leaguer with Milwaukee, just blasted one foul well out beyond the grandstand at right field. We got 2 down in the last of the second. Memphis is batting. No score here. And Jeff Bagwell of the Houston Astros is visiting here with us. Mike Bertotti, the pitcher, and that's ball 2.
Jeff, one of the things you mentioned I thought was interesting, you talked about him having his weight back. To me, that's more of an American League trait, and a lot of the hitting instructors in the American League teach their guys to stay back because it's supposed to be a breaking ball league.
Right.
So a lot of players do try to keep their weight back. See, I agree with you. I believe that you should have your weight evenly distributed because if you get it back, you've got to go forward. And sometimes you go too quickly or you jump at the ball.
Exactly. I like to keep in the middle of my body and, you know, and just make movements from there. Because, as you say, you know, he throws a curveball right here, a changeup. You know, he might be out in front, and I'll be able to hit it with one hand or something like that. I think if you're going to watch somebody that does that real well, Tony Gwynn, you know, that's pretty easy for me to say, a guy almost hitting 400. But I've learned a lot by just watching him and the way he approaches it. He stays in the middle of his body and just uses his hands.
Well, George Canale has been called out on strikes. Bertotti has struck out the side. Jeff Bagwell is with us. We're going to talk to George a little bit later, or we're going to talk to Jeff again when we're being joined by Jeff Bagwell via satellite from Houston. And Jeff, we've got Troy Fryman coming up here, the younger brother of Travis Fryman of the Detroit Tigers, hitting only .227, 4 homers, 37 batted in, and a left-handed hitter, unlike his brother Travis here. As we start the third with the pitcher Dilson Torres. By the way, Jeff, I know you've been watching the ball game on television. From what you've seen of these 2 pitchers, these 2 double-A pitchers, what do you think of these 2 guys?
Well, left-handers got real good fastball. This guy is the kind of guy I hate to face. You know, throws strikes and changes speeds and gets you out on your front foot and things like that. Those are guys I don't like to face, and I'd much rather face the left-hander that throws hard.
What are some of the problems when you play in the minor leagues? I mean, it's not been that long for you. I mean,
no.
You don't have the big league lights, you don't have the clubhouses, you don't have all of the accoutrements that you have at the big league level. That's hit hard to center for a base hit for Troy.
Yeah, well, you didn't know any better when you played back then. You know, it'd be tough to go there right now. I'm sure Michael's got a little different taste of being in the NBA than all of a sudden being down there in Double-A. But when you're in Double-A, man, that's great. You know, coming up from A-ball and then all of a sudden be there. You know, you got the bus rides and the lights aren't great, but to you at that point, those are the best fields you've ever played on.
You can see better when you're 19 anyway, Jeff.
Heck yeah.
Well, now, Jeff, you mentioned Tony Gwynn, and we talked to Tony Gwynn, and we got his opinion concerning Michael Jordan's attempts to play baseball.
The main thing is how when he takes his strike foot and he starts to go, that weight starts to go with it. And as a hitter, when you get into this position, your hands aren't going to be able to catch up. And so he needs to get to the point where when he picks it up and he puts it down, everything stays right there.
All right, Jeff, what do you think about what Tony said there?
Well, that's basically what we were talking about. He's got his weight on his back foot right now, and then his momentum goes forward, and Tony's saying that his hands go with him. What I was trying to tell you about Tony is Tony stays back the whole time, and his hands stay back, and he just uses his hands the whole way. That's why he's so good.
Well, one thing about Tony is that, like you said, there's a very little movement, and you perfected that this year, too, and I think that's the reason that you're hitting for such a high average.
Well, yeah, that's the thing that I learned from Tony is, you know, he's always been yelling at me to try and keep the same stance and all that and try not to change. And the thing I've tried to do, which I didn't do in the past, was keep the plane of my eyes on the same level. You know, I used to move my eyes up and down and come up on the ball. Now I try and stay in a crouch and stay down, and it's helped me this year a lot.
Well, you could see by that swing of Tony Gwynn's, his eyes stayed on the same plane. And as little head movement as you can have, obviously, the better off you are. Because once you move your head, the ball moves as well. And I want to bring up something you told me when we were in Houston last week and after this pitch.
This is Doug Brady. Chris Tremme is flying out to shallow center. 1 out, 1 on. And a pitch out, but Fryman was not going anywhere. Doug Brady, the leadoff hitter, and he struck out his first time.
But you were talking, remember last year you were in a crouch, but you weren't spread out as much, and you had a tendency to raise up out of your crouch, and you hit a lot of balls with topspin on them. you'd hit it hard enough to get it out of the ballpark, but they would sink. And now you spread out more, and you get a little more uppercut in your swing, and that's one of the reasons you hit 38 home runs, I believe.
Yeah,
39.
39.
He's trying to cheat you out of a home run, Jeff. 39.
39. I think you're exactly right. You know, I've always experimented with my hitting coach, Rudy Jaramillo, you know, in the past years of trying to stay straight up and down. That way I generate more power, and that might be true, but the consistency of the power is not there. When I spread out, I feel a lot more comfortable, and I can do different things. I can hit the ball to right, left, and center. Plus, I said before, my eyes are on the same level, and I have a tendency to hit with more power more consistently.
Well, here we are talking to hitting. We're talking with the guys having one of the great years that any hitter in the National League has had, and I mean, 50, 60 years. And of course, we're sitting here talking about it, Jeff, because you guys are out on strike now. What's going to happen? I mean, what's your feeling, and what have you been hearing?
Well, the feeling's not good right now. You know, it's Sunday, and they're not talking at this point, and that's kind of tough. You know, you'd like to see them get in a room and talk and things like that, and that's easy for me to say right here. You know, I just want this thing resolved. I want it because I can't imagine down the road thinking about 1994 and not having a World Series. That wouldn't be good for baseball. This strike isn't good for baseball right now, but you have to understand that this is a labor thing, and baseball is a business. It's a big business. When you're talking about $2 billion worth of revenue, you're talking about a lot of money, and you know, you're going to have some problems with your labor and your owners and things like that. So these things happen, and unfortunately, it happened this year. With the great things that are going on in baseball, but again, this is the same as everyday life, except there's just a little bit more money involved.
The batter is Glenn DeSarcina after the error by Domingo Mota. 2 men on with 1 man out for Birmingham in the 3rd inning. No score in the game, and DeSarcina grounded out his first time. Jeff Bagwell is here with us. Jeff, I mean, right now, where the two sides seem to be, there seems to be no room for any kind of movement in the negotiations.
Yeah, it's real tough now. You know, the owners, eight owners can block a vote now, and it's going to be tough to get things resolved. You know, it really is, and it's kind of unfortunate. I don't see us, you know, anything really happening probably till the Labor Day. You know, it's kind of sad, and I just hope that we play baseball again.
When's your hand going to be ready again, do you think?
About Labor Day.
Just past Mona into center field, base hit. Here comes Troy Fryman heading home, and the throw is offline, and Birmingham has gone ahead 1-0. Glenn DeSarcina, the younger brother of the Angels' Gary, has singled home Troy Fryman, the younger brother of the Tigers' Travis. And Doug Bradley over to second. It is 1-0 Birmingham.
Well, DeSarcina hits this out towards the middle of the diamond. Now watch, Domingo Mota has a chance at it, makes a dive, just barely misses it, and it goes into center field for a base hit. And Fryman came in to score the first run of the ball game.
So it is 1-0, and here is Mike Robertson, the best hitter on this Birmingham club. They'll get a chance to do more here against the right-hander, Dilson Torres. Man, Jeff, did that give you a start there all the way out in Houston, watching that pitch come under his chin like that?
That's the one that got me on the right side. See his hands? That's where it was, right there.
You know, last Sunday when we were there, and Billy Swift threw one kind of right under your chin there. And, I mean, I read in the paper the next day you weren't very pleased about that either.
No, you know, he had some, all night they pitched me in at times, and, you know, unfortunately I started swinging at a lot of them because I was upset. I was upset about that situation, but I just don't like, you know, being thrown at, you know, when somebody throws at your face, that's a little different. So,
Jeff, thank you. And that's Jeff Bagwell of the Houston Astros. We'll be back.
It's time now for On the Border Cafe's
from Memphis, 1-0 the Birmingham Barons. Michael Jordan-less tonight, facing the Memphis Chicks. Memphis coming up in the last of the 3rd. Gary Caraballo hitting 8th in the order. 242, 7 home runs. He'll be followed by Darren Burton and then Domingo Mota into right field, but right to Kevin Coughlin, and Caraballo is out number 1, facing left-hander Mike Bertotti, a real hard thrower. John Miller and Joe Morgan here with you, and we're being joined by Jeff Bagwell, all-star for the Houston Astros. And Jeff, how do you keep posted on what's happening in the labor negotiations? I know you told us that Ken Caminetti and Chris Donalds are the player reps for the Astros. Do you stay in contact with them regularly, or what?
Well, not so far, not recently. The most I learn is usually on ESPN, to be honest with you, or CNN, or whatever you want to call it. TV
well, we like to call it ESPN.
Yeah, I don't understand that, but yeah. But yeah, it's probably more ESPN, we'll say that. But,
I was pretty sure about that.
Yeah.
Go ahead, anyway.
Sorry about that, but it's just one of them things where, you know, it's tough to find things out right now, and I'm sure those guys don't know that much more than, you know, you guys know. You guys are right there, or, you know, ESPN in that part of the country, so you guys probably know more than anybody right now anyway, so.
I mean, if this thing goes on for a long, long time, I mean, is there a chance that the players will not stay united and guys will be saying, no, we've got to come back and play, this is our livelihood, things like that?
No, I don't think so. You know, I saw a piece on Rich Gossage last night, and I think he's right. The players are very unified, and you know, I don't see us caving in. I mean, you know, it's going to be a shame, and nobody likes to sit out. I'm sure we don't, and I know the owners don't, and it's a tough situation. But you know, we owe it to the people before us and the people that are going to play after us to be unified about this.
This is Darren Burton, one of the real top young prospects for the White Sox, and now with Memphis, White Sox AA team. A fly ball to the center fielder Valerie, and he is retired. Two men gone as we go to the top of the order, and Domingo Mota.
Jeff, I think the most important thing you said there is that you owe it to the people who came before you and the people who will come after you. And you know, speaking as a former player, that's the situation I was in. I was part of the first one, 72 strike, and that was the point. You're not doing it so much for yourself, but you're doing it for the people who were before you and the people who will come after you. Because a lot of things have been won in negotiations. You don't want to give them back at this point, just for your own good or the players' good of today. So I think it's a very complicated issue, and I know a lot of players feel, hey, we have to stay unified, and you do have to, one way or the other. I mean, you have to stay together because that's the only way that things have been settled in the past, is because players did stick together.
You're exactly right. I mean, I don't have what I have now. The only reason I have it is because of players before me.
Right. And again, and it's not about, you know, the owners being, I'm not saying the owners are right or wrong, or even the players are right or wrong in this point. I'm just saying that I think both sides have to stick together so that there can be a settlement. If people start going off in different directions, you may never get a settlement.
I would agree.
I feel like I just walked into the Union Hall here. Well, Jeff, we certainly hope that the rehabilitation goes along well, and you are back shortly, and that you're all back shortly. And we certainly appreciate you being with us tonight.
My pleasure, guys. Enjoy the game.
Yeah, thanks. And I'll see you at Pine Valley, if not sooner.
And be sure and keep up with the strike news on ESPN, Jeff.
ESPN, that's it. The four-letter word, not the three.
1-0 Birmingham after 3. The sights and sounds of Tim McCarver Stadium in Memphis. Sunday Night Baseball, special edition tonight in the Southern League. This is John Miller with Joe Morgan. 1-0. The Birmingham Barons, they have the black jerseys, have the lead, and here is Shane Turner in the top of the 4th facing right-hander Dilson Torres. Turner singled his first time. And that's a called strike 2. He'll be followed by Kerry Valerie and Kevin Conklin. This is the middle of the Birmingham batting order, the numbers 4, 5, and 6 hitters. Double-A ball. I mean, these players on an average make about $2,000 a month for a little bit less than 5 months a year. So they've all got to have some kind of other employment in the off-season.
Center fielder number 38, Kerry Valerie.
Take a look at this pitch, Joe. This is a split finger he's throwing here.
Well, it looks like the ball is really moving down and away. That one, I think, was more of it was a fastball. That was not a changeup.
All right.
88-mile-an-hour changeups are hard to find in the big leagues or anywhere else.
Especially with that kind of dip to him.
Yeah, and I think that one was a split-finger fastball or a two-seam fastball.
Here's Kerry Valerie now. Now, Valerie from Mobile, Alabama, still lives in Alabama, went to the University of Southern Mississippi, and always had excellent speed, has stolen as many as 32 bases in a season, struck out his first time. Now, he was a defensive back in college and tried out with the Detroit Lions, so he really concentrated more on football than he did baseball until recently. But Valerie has 28 steals already this year, among the leading figures in the Southern League. Well, he just got such a dip on that. Right now, he's throwing a pitch after pitch after pitch. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Well, again, as we talked at the beginning of the telecast, he has good stuff. Good variety of pitches. And he's shown me that he has a pretty good fastball as well.
Struck him out.
That looked like a slider there. And when I said looks like, it's because it's a little darker here than in big league stadiums. I can see the pitches a little better.
Yeah, there you are.
Yeah, that's a slider. Yeah, over the outside part of the plate. And you can see he's fooled more by the speed than anything else.
5 strikeouts now for Torres. 2 down, nobody on. Here is Kevin Coughlin. Just a little bit low now. Dilson Torres is from Venezuela. He is 24 years of age. 24 is a little bit old for this league. High in the air into left center field. Wind is blowing in tonight. And Burton grabs it. 3 up and 3 down. It'll be Shane Halter, then Phil Hyatt and Les Norman. 1-0 Birmingham. Birmingham 1, Memphis nothing as we go to the last of the 4th inning. Now, we want to remind you to join Mike Patrick and Joe Theismann this Saturday night for preseason NFL football here on ESPN. It's a matchup of AFC contenders as Thurman Thomas and the Buffalo Bills meet the Houston Oilers at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio. The Bills and the Oilers Saturday night at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, right here on ESPN. Shane Halter leads off, last of the 4th for Memphis against Mike Bertotti, the hard-throwing young left-hander. Bertotti missed his last start with a sprained ankle, and his manager Terry Francona was not exactly sure how he would fare tonight. Now, it's interesting, the philosophies in the organizations. Francona says there's no real pitch limit for him to follow as a manager here in AA ball. But only one time all year has he had a pitcher throw more than 120 pitches. And it says usually once they're up around 100, he gets them out of there. But he bases it on how they're throwing, which is the same way they do it in the big leagues. Now, Ron Johnson, the manager of the Memphis Ball Club and the Royals organization, they keep to a pitch limit. And once his guy's up around 100 pitches, he's looking to get him out of there. The organization, as you see, Ron Johnson, the Royals like to keep a guy about 115 to 120 at the maximum. But he's had only 2 starters all year who've thrown more than 100 pitches.
Again, that's all a matter of philosophies. And, you know, I believe that I can understand both sides. I don't particularly care for a pitch count myself. I think a pitcher should go out there just knowing that his job is to win a ball game, not to worry about when he gets to 100 pitches or how many pitches it takes to win that ball game. Plus, I think it's a learning process. You learn how to pitch a little bit when you get a little tired. You learn how to go to an alternate pitch. You learn how to be a better pitcher if you don't have your best stuff throughout the entire ball game.
Well, their feeling is, Ron Johnson's feeling was that, for instance, tonight, Dilson Torres, a young guy, if he's gone 7 innings and he has the lead, he's pitched well, and he's up around 100 pitches, well, he'll look to get him out of there because it's been a successful night for him at that point. He doesn't want to leave him in and risk it turning into a bad experience, an unsuccessful night.
Well, I'll give you the philosophy that Bob Quinn and I talked about. He's the Giants general manager. Do you spoil pitchers when you do that? Especially on a minor league level, do you spoil them so that when they get to the big leagues, they're doing the same thing, looking for help in the 7th inning?
The batter is Phil Hyatt. He's the big hitter on this Memphis Ball Club, former major leaguer with Kansas City, trying to get back to the big leagues. 2 strikes to count to him.
And when I talked to Terry Francona, see, that was his philosophy. He said, look, you know, if I take a guy out just because he's thrown a certain number of pitches and has a quality start, am I really doing him a favor? You know, or am I going to train him to be a major league starter and be a winner in the major leagues? I think you have to train him to be winners.
And he powered the 91-mile-an-hour fastball right past Hyatt.
Tell you what, that one looked a little faster than 91 miles an hour. That looked like the best fastball he's thrown all evening. Watch this pitch. A high fastball is always a little faster than the one that's around belt high or below. That one was up a little bit, and it really had some pop on it.
Here is Les Norman, the cleanup hitter for Memphis. 1-0 Birmingham ahead, 1 out, 1 on. But you were telling me about Bob Quinn's philosophy with the Giants. You said that he asked the question. I mean, what was his answer to that question?
I asked him, I said, why do you have 4 or 5 starters now instead of 4 like they had in the old days? Why do you not have pitchers pitching close to 300 innings? And he says that he thinks that they spoil them early by making them their 5th, you know, using 5 starters rather than 4 and letting them only go 6 or 7 innings.
So the Giants' philosophy of the minor league is to get away from that.
No, I'm telling you Bob Quinn's philosophy. I'm not going to say what they're doing now. But I was asking the question why that we had, you know, 4-man, why we didn't have 4-man start rotations when you only can find 4 good starters instead of putting the 5th guy out there who was a weak link in the chain.
Les Norman pops it up. Chasing after Mike Robertson, the first baseman, and the right fielder, Coughlin. But it's in amongst the spectators here. Pretty good crowd at Tim McCarver Stadium, which has been hosting baseball now for more than 30 years. Tim McCarver never actually played in this ballpark.
And it's interesting, John, they have his number retired down the right field line, which is number 9. He was always number 6 in the big leagues.
Now, this is the old Russwood Park, and Tim McCarver never played there either, but he used to watch games there, and he also used to sell popcorn in the stands there at the old Russwood Field, and dreamed of playing there, I'm sure, as a kid. There goes Shane Halter, and he's in there with a stolen base.
He picked a good pitch, a changeup.
His 9th steal of the year.
Now, this is a changeup. You see the catcher has to wait for it, plus it's a low pitch. He also has a little trouble with the hitter trying to get out of his way as he makes the throw.
Now, here comes the manager, Terry Francona, out to
complain about the fact that the hitter, he thinks the hitter obstructed the catcher. At least the catcher thinks he did. I didn't think he did. It looked like the catcher put on a pretty good act as he threw the ball to second base. Now watch the catcher. He has a position to do it right there. See, now watch. All the hitter does is squat down. See, the catcher put on an act. He really didn't hit him. See, he didn't hit the batter. He didn't bump into him. And the umpire made the right call. But I see that's what Terry is complaining about. But from Terry's angle, sitting in the dugout, you see your catcher go sprawling. You think that he did make contact with the hitter. But he really didn't.
Chris Tremmy, the catcher, out talking to Bertotti as Francona continues to argue with the plate umpire, Randy Wagner. Wagner and Marv Wright, the first base umpire, worked together all season in the Southern League. Well, Francona got a little hot ultimately, but now he goes back to the dugout. These two umpires, Randy Wagner and Marv Wright, worked together in Nashville last night and drove here after their game and arrived in Memphis at 3:30 this morning. They make about $2,400 a month during the baseball season. Pitch is high and away, 1-2, the count to Les Norman. And that's for 5 months now. So they make about $12,000 for the season, and they get $16 a day meal money. And you know how they get around from city to city? They drive to their assignment in Randy's Buick. Putting on some serious miles on that baby.
Well, the great thing about the minor leagues, John, really, and this is why I like the minor leagues so much, it's really not about money. It's not about how much you make. It's about doing what you love to do. It's kind of like Michael Jordan. He's here because he wants to be here. And the minor league players, these players are out there because they want to be here. They want to make it to the major leagues. And money is probably the furthest thing from their mind, except on the 1st of 15 when they have to pay bills.
Third baseman Turner just in time to get Les Norman. And that's out number 2. Well, you mentioned Michael Jordan. We were hoping to see Michael in the lineup tonight for the Birmingham Barons, but Friday he got hurt in Huntsville going for this catch.
And actually, John, it's more the inexperience of Michael here. He doesn't get a good jump on the ball, so he ends up having to dive for it. And he was awkward in his dive, and he comes down on his left shoulder. I mean, we've seen that happen to players in the big leagues, too. They get fooled by the flight of the ball and end up diving and hurt their shoulders.
Andy Stewart, the DH, hitting 5th in the order. The 3rd, Turner, and that is the inning. 1 man left at 3rd. 1-0 Birmingham as we go to the 5th. It seems has an opinion about the strike Well, here in Memphis, even Elvis. Elvis says, play ball now. Thank you. Thank you very much. Elvis sings, please negotiate. Yeah. Oh, and he, you know, just like Jeff Bagwell, he watches ESPN Sports Center. This is Elvis Week in Memphis. We're not far from Graceland, about 10 minutes away. Here is Randy Hood, and he takes a strike facing Dilson Torres. I think we're going to be seeing Dilson Torres in the big leagues before much longer.
I agree.
And I think we're going to be seeing this Philip Bertotti if he can stay healthy.
Yeah, I think Bertotti's a little farther away simply because he basically only has the one pitch so far tonight I've seen is a good fastball. Torres mixes his pitches well and he throws strikes. And a lot of, you know, pitchers, you know, because you can be a 10th man, 9th man on a staff if you can throw strikes and get certain right-handed hitters out.
Now, Kansas City's got a pretty good rotation up there right now.
Yeah.
With David Cohn and Apier and Tom Gordon, Mark Gubazov.
I don't think he would be a starter. I think he would be a guy that can come out of the bullpen because he does throw strikes and he can't get the breaking ball over.
Randy Hood lined out to right center his first time.
And if Hal McRae's listening, that's the first time I've ever given him any advice.
The first time?
Yes. About managing.
Yeah. This is the play by Mota, and he got Hood.
Play there by Mota. He made an error on a double play ground ball, but this is a more difficult play. Making a play on the run.
Robbing from Randy Hood.
Yeah. Oh, good, John.
Giving to the Chicks.
Nice play there as Mota goes to his right. This is the toughest play for a second baseman, especially on AstroTurf, because you can't plant and throw. You have to do everything on the run.
That's a high drive off the bat of Troy Fryman, deep into the right field corner. This one is way back and gone. A home run for Troy Fryman, his 5th of the year. And what a 2-0 for Birmingham. Fryman is now 2 for 2. And he really has gotten his game together in the second half of this season. He was really struggling early on.
John, I watched Troy Fryman take batting practice and also watched Mike Robertson. Of the two of the Birmingham players, they were the most impressive. They had the ball explodes off their bats. And you get a look at it here. He doesn't hit this ball great down the line, but he pulls it down the line. And as you said, this is a bandbox if you hit the ball down the line. Torres is disappointed because he didn't think he made such a bad pitch. Fryman.
This is Chris Tremmy, the catcher, takes a strike. Well, 2-0 for Birmingham. It's been the Troy Fryman show. Now, just looking back a little bit, Fryman in his last 20 games is hitting better than .350, 26 for 72. Caraballo, and he throws out Tremmy. Number 2 here in the 5th inning. Now, you saw Tim McCarver's jersey, the number 9, retired here. He did sell popcorn in this ballpark, Russwood Park, and watch the old Chicks play. But then Russwood Park, April of 1960, erupted in flames and disappeared. And that year, when Tim McCarver might have played for them, their games were shifted to a high school field called Hodges Field, a converted football field, which featured a right field porch that was 204 feet away from home plate. Mota, he's got it off the bat of Doug Brady, and that is the inning. 1 run for Birmingham. 1-1 as we go to the last of the 5th. Back here in Memphis, let me try to get this score right. Birmingham 2, Memphis nothing. There. That's why they sent me back to the minor leagues. I needed a little work on getting my scores straight. 2-0 Birmingham out front here. As Chad Strickland, who has the only hit for Memphis against Mike Bertotti. Strickland singled with 2 down in the 6th inning. Popped it up foul and back out toward Paul Bear Bryant Boulevard. When I was driven over here, Joe, I think we made a left. We went just a block past the ballpark and made a left onto Paul Bear Bryant Boulevard. That's not the way you came in?
Well, I had to walk. I mean, you had a driver.
Boy, you really got demoted. On the bunt. The bunt single for the catcher, Chad Strickland. Bunting on the turf, and he gets a hit.
I tell you what, Tremmy made a great throw there. He has a shotgun for an arm now. He lets the ball bounce too high, bounce up. Now, I mean, he fires this ball to first base. I thought he had a chance of getting him. Very close play at first, but good play there by Tremmy. I mean, this play at first looked like it was going to be a routine single, but, I mean, he made it very close at first base. Actually, a little better stretch towards him might have gotten him. First baseman stretched the other way. Should have stretched toward the throw.
Mike Robertson. Here is George Canale. Canale has been with the Milwaukee Brewers. And his first Major League home run was hit at Yankee Stadium against Pascual Perez. And he hit it into the upper deck at Yankee Stadium. High in the air into deep left center field. This one really hit well, but the wind is blowing in, remember. The left fielder, Hood, takes it away from Valerie. Randy Hood robbing from Valerie. And 4 out, number 1. Strickland back to first. That'll bring up Caraballo. Terry Francona is the man managing Michael Jordan all through this season. We asked him about the progress that Michael has made this year.
His progress in every aspect of the game, and I mean this very sincerely, he has vastly improved. As a hitter, as his average went down, he was actually becoming a much better hitter. And sooner or later, his average, it will agree. His outfield play is much better. His base running play is much better. His knowledge of the game, in my opinion, is what has improved more than anything. And I think that was the most important thing, just because as he understands the game, a lot of that athletic ability will allow itself to show.
That was like a perfect description of what I found, with Michael in talking to him, that he has improved, but he understands the game better now. And I think Francona may be a perfect guy to manage someone like Michael. Low key, but he also had some success in the major league, and he understands the game very well.
Well, he said Michael, when the season started, would be in the outfield, and he'd play a ball, and it was just, what next?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not quite as simple as the big leaguers make it look. I mean, you've got to hit cutoff man, relay man, and there are certain places you should be throwing at certain times, and he was throwing to the wrong bases a lot. And once his knowledge increased about the game, then that gave the athleticism, his ability, the chance to do what he can do. The other thing, he said about him is that he got 44 RBIs for a guy who's been hitting 7th most of the year and not hitting home runs, so he hasn't been driving himself in. And he says he not only has hit real well on the clutch, he says a lot of his RBIs have been 2-out RBIs, which are the kinds of managers love to see.
Well, as we've often talked, John, statistics can be deceiving, meaning a batting average, and we talked about that before. He's hitting 191, and he would like to be hitting 300, and everyone would expect him to hit better. But, again, it takes time, because when you play high school baseball, you play baseball just for fun every once in a while, you don't keep track of the outs continually as they have to do on a batting average. And that's all it is a batting average. It doesn't tell you how he's done in the clutch. You just explain how he's done.
Caraballo to third, Turner to second, 1, and Brady back to first, and hits the runner coming in, and it's going to be scored a double play. The umpire, Mike Lloyd, has ruled that Chad Strickland intentionally interfered with that play. Ron Johnson, the manager, over to argue on the play.
No, the only thing I can think of, John, is he raised his hands up. Let's take a look. Yeah, he raises his hand up right there, and that's why he called him out.
Double play. 2-0.
Do that. If it's part of your slide, okay, but you can see clearly that he's going to his left side. Now he raised his hand up, and it hits his hand, and that stops the double play. So the umpire immediately called him for interference.
Now, personally, Joe, I wouldn't do that.
No, I wouldn't either.
I mean, I could put you on the DL there, yeah. Might be having to wear the Jeff Bagwell thing there.
Well, you may do it if you're in the bottom of the 9th inning in the 7th game of the World Series. You may want to try something like that.
This is Glenn DeSarcina. Hits one very deep, but very foul. Off into the night here. That's heading toward Graceland. 1 ball and 1 strike to DeSarcina. Grounded to first, and then he singled home the first run of the game back in the 3rd inning. He is 1 for 2. Now, DiSarcina has been hitting .330 in his last 21 games. So he, too, was off to a terrible start. Big adjustment coming from A ball to double A. Through, base hit. Halter got close to it, but didn't get it. Glenn DiSarcina, his brother Gary, is in the big leagues, and we asked him, coming from an NBA hotbed like Boston, about Michael.
At first, everyone was kind of, you know, a little anxious to meet him and see him, what he does and all. But I mean, now lately, it's been, you know, he's been just a normal guy, you know. It's just, actually, you know, when we leave fields and stuff, he's not a normal guy, but it's a great experience for me and everybody else. And I mean, for him too, he's having a lot of fun doing this and seeing what he can do. And I mean, it's something I'll never forget for the rest of my career.
It's interesting. I think he's added a lot of spark to a lot of his teammates.
That's Glenn DiSarcina heading back over to first base after the foul ball by Mike Robertson. And Glenn from Billerica, Massachusetts, along with his brother Gary. And his brother Gary was such a great Celtics fan and Larry Bird fan in particular. And when Larry Bird retired, Gary DiSarcina, sort of as a tribute to Larry Bird, started wearing his number 33 with the Angels.
Well, there's the Shaq. He helped the USA win the World Championship today. I have a question for you, John. I'm going to give you a little time to think about it. You were talking about Birmingham being in the league for 30-plus years. They have had like 6 Hall of Famers play in Birmingham. Don't go looking for it.
I know.
I'm going to give you an opportunity. There's 6. I'm going to let you give me 3, and I'll. Am
I looking at anything?
Yeah, give me 3. I'm going to give you this trivia question.
All right, Reggie Jackson.
Okay.
Raleigh Fingers.
Some old guys.
Those guys are old guys. They're just like you.
Okay. Give me some guys that played, you know, real throwback into the old days.
Well, let me see.
Yeah, I got him. I knew I had you there. You only gave me 2 anyway. You only gave me 2.
Well, you keep interrupting me. You're putting pressure on me here. Let's see. Did I say Reggie Jackson?
Twice.
And Raleigh Fingers?
2 more times.
Let me see. Okay, go ahead. Burley Grimes, did I say him?
Okay.
Oh, okay. Willie Mays?
It took you long enough. I mean, how can you forget the great Willie Mays played here? And Satchel Paige.
Well, not here.
Well, but played for Birmingham.
Yeah.
Satchel Paige, Willie Mays. I mean, Pie Traynor.
Satchel Paige played for the team called the Birmingham Black Barons.
He and Mays.
Yeah.
But what about Pie Traynor? He played.
1921.
Right. Now you're
of all the guys you played against, where would you put Pie Traynor?
See, I just asked a little trivia question, and you turn it into, you know, getting personal here.
2-2 the count to Mike Robertson here.
On a more serious note, though, John, the reason I brought that up is because it did remind me of my minor league days being here tonight. You know, the Durham Bulls. It tells you about, you know, that movie Bull Durham, I think, really set up what happens in the minor leagues. I thought that was a very good movie. Did you see that movie?
No. Is that true?
Yeah.
You're saying that those things happen?
Yes, those things happen in the minor leagues. Seriously.
They're like single women who worship at the temple of baseball?
Well, I wasn't talking about the women. I was talking about things that happen on the field.
Remember, it was like Susan Sarandon. It was like her movie. And right at the very beginning, she starts talking about worshiping at the temple of baseball. He's got to make a tag at second, and he did. Double play. Started beautifully by George Canale, who is reputed to be one of the great defensive first basemen in any league. And he just made a sensational play there on Robertson, getting that double play and a perfect throw over to second to the shortstop, Halter, for the double play.
Now, Canale comes off the bag in good shape. The ball's hit down the line. Good recovery. Now he tags the bag. Now it has to be a tag at second base. The runner beats it, but he's trying to break up the double play, so he ends up oversliding the bag, and the umpire calls him out on the retag. The play there by Halter as well.
Now, should the runner have known better, Joe, or did he do the right thing?
Well, he didn't know if he was coming to second first before he tagged it, so it's a tough play for the runner.
But he knew the guy was holding against holding the bag, right?
Yeah, but he didn't know where the ball exactly, was hit. He might have come to second first for the force out and then, try to turn to 3-6-3. Can't really
happened
fault him on there. Yeah, you can't really fault him on that play, I don't think.
Shane Turner, the cleanup hitter. 1 ball, 1 strike. He singled in the second, struck out in the fourth. He played for Baltimore, played for Philadelphia, and 2 or 3 stops in the big leagues. In the dirt on the inside, 2-1. They had a young third baseman here in Birmingham by the name of Snowpeck.
Yes.
And he got hit with a pitch on his little pinky finger. Just kind of smashed it. Had to have some surgery, so he's out for the year. But he may have been the best prospect on this ball club. So they picked up Shane Turner to replace him at third base. 2 down, nobody on. 2-1 the count. 2-0. The Birmingham Barons are leading the Memphis Chicks. Do I know how many Hall of Famers who played in Birmingham?
You had so much help on that, I can't believe it.
Low throw there by Halter, but Canali digs it out. 2-0 Birmingham. We go to the last of the 6th inning. Birmingham 2, Memphis nothing. Last of the 6th inning coming up here in Memphis. The hometown team has not done much against Mike Bertotti. Now in the second half in the Southern League West, you see Memphis down at the bottom. Huntsville is leading, but Huntsville also won the first half, and so if they win both halves, as Darren Burton leads it off, taking ball 1 from Bertotti, if Huntsville wins both halves, in order to have a playoff, they will take the team in the division at the best overall record other than Huntsville. And you see right now Nashville is second best and Memphis is 1 game out. So Memphis right now 1 game out of a wild card berth, and assuming that Huntsville wins both halves. I mean, you think, I'm wondering why the major league owners didn't think of this.
Well, that may be the
Do you follow that?
Well, that may be the formula if they come back in time.
Now, the Eastern Division does the same thing, except it's not as complicated. It's a lot easier if one team wins the first half and another team wins the second half.
Yeah, that is easier.
You see how it's simple? Because then they play each other for the title of the division, if not the whole thing. Here's the fly ball to Senator Kerry Valerie, and he's got it, and Darren Burton is retired. Now, maybe you're saying, yeah, but what about the East? All right. First half, Carolina, the Carolina Mudcats won it. But maybe you're wondering, what about the second half over there? Well, it looks like Greenville so far, which means that if they hold that lead over Knoxville, Greenville would play Carolina for in the playoffs. Joe, you
lost me. I'm just going to wait, and I'm gonna read the book when it comes out.
Anyway, it should be exciting.
Yes, I'll just read the book.
So anyway, that's why Memphis is 1 game out, even though they're in last place, and 4.5 out in the standings. And, you know, we can't put it any more simply than that. Oh, and by the way, here's an update, so that you fans at home maybe want to update your Southern League standings with us. Knoxville has defeated Orlando tonight. Orlando Cepeda, 17-9. Domingo Mota, leadoff hitter, 0 for 2 on the 2-1 pitch. This is Kevin Coughlin, and that's the second out of the inning, and Bertotti is making it look easy. Join ESPN this Thursday. The thing we know for sure, the only network that Jeff Bagwell watches in his spare time. Right to the shortstop, and D. Sarcina throws out Shane Halter. 3 up and 3 down. Bertotti's got a 2-hit shutout going. We go to the 7th, 2-0 Birmingham. From Memphis, John Miller, Joe Morgan, Sunday Night Baseball special from Tim McCarver Stadium in Memphis. The Chicks are trailing the Barons 2-0 as we go to the 7th inning. Now there are some guys.
Yeah, but you were joining them in between. They were dancing to the music of the
but I kept my shirt on.
Village people.
Because I know how the women go crazy when I take it off. Here is ball one to Kerry Valerie. He's the 5th place hitter in the order. He struck out twice tonight. He's been slumping lately. He's been up over 300 since early in the year. A strike from Dilson Torres. Still spinning those breaking balls in there. 1 ball, 1 strike. Barons, even without Michael Jordan, leading 2-0 here as we play the 7th inning. That's a sinker. Foul tip. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Now, we were trying to give you the layout of the land here in the Southern League, how the pennant races are evolving, how they have the split season and chance of a wild card berth and so on and so forth. I had some ideas about what the big leagues could do along those lines. Valerie is thrown out by Caraballo. Now here's the standings. If they do what I'm proposing, Joe, which is on August 1st every year, take all the teams who've fallen out of contention and put them all into the weak division in a respective league. This year, you take all the teams who've fallen out in the Eastern and Central, and you put them all in the West. Toronto would be the favorite. They'd be leading. Boston and Minnesota. What a battle. Then Detroit and Milwaukee right in the thick of it. Here's a bunt by Coughlin, but it goes foul. All right, because I'm trying to get into the spirit of this whole thing, Joe, of realignment. 3 divisions. Wild card team, right? More teams in contention. Let's put them all into contention. That's my proposal. All right? So you'd have only Baltimore and the Yankees left in the East, and the White Sox, the Indians, and Kansas City would be left in the Central, and everybody else would move to the West because it's the weak division. And as of August 1st, they'd all be in contention again.
So as of August 1st, the West would only play the West?
No, keep playing the same schedule. We don't believe in playing more games inside your division, Joe. Just play everybody, you know, the same number of times. I'm not telling them to change their schedule. Coughlin has singled off the right field wall there. Karen played nicely by Phil Hyatt, and that is the 6th hit for Birmingham.
Well, I think Birmingham has some good left-handed hitters in their lineup. Look at that, some nice swing there. Ball hits the bottom of the wall, played very well in right field there by Hyatt. Comes up, fires a strike to second base, and Coughlin holds it first with a single.
And that'll bring up Randy Hood. He's lined to right center, grounded to second. So you saw how it would work in the American League, Joe, with my new proposal?
Yeah, I saw that, John.
How would it work in the National League? Again, all the teams that have fallen out of it get put into the weak division.
All right, but what's
on
out
August
of it?
the 1st.
How far is out of it?
You know, 10 games.
Okay, 10 games. Okay.
Now look how we, under my new proposal. The Dodgers will still be leading the West, but then the Mets, the Giants, and the Phillies. Hey, maybe the Phillies would be favored to win that division. You know, they're getting Schilling back, and Tommy Green's coming back soon. So,
well, it sounds like I'm going to have to read 2 books.
This is all out there for the owners of baseball. Just a little addendum to realignment, because if we're going to get more teams in contention, let's get more teams in contention.
Well, I think at this point I'm not going to touch that because I think they have enough problems, you know, to solve already. So we'll leave that realignment for maybe next year.
They felt like I was being negative a little bit about their new, with the wild card teams and stuff. So
I thought that was unfair criticism of you, I might add, too, John.
Yeah. I'm trying to get into the spirit of it now.
Yeah, I got you.
By saying, okay, that's a great idea, more teams in the pennant race. So let's get more teams in the pennant race. I've done some creative thinking on this subject.
I can see your basis for that, but like I say, I think right now they're concerned a little bit more about other things, and we'll hit them with that next year.
That's the problem. They should be concerned about the pennant races. 2-2 the count. Randy Hood, 0 for 2 in the game. Hood last year played at South Bend, Sarasota, and Birmingham. Been playing professionally since 1990. Just turned 26. Runner going. Nice throw. Chad Strickland right there to Mota covering, and Coughlin is thrown out.
Nice tag at second by Mota, as well as the throw being right on target. But he made a nice quick tag. Retire Coughlin. Pretty good pitch to throw on. Strickland's throw is right on the money. Now look at the tag by Mota. Quick tag, and he's out.
And ball 4 to Randy Hood, so he goes over to first base. That is the first walk allowed by Dilson Torres. He now has thrown 82 pitches in the game, but they do have some bullpen activity going for Memphis over along down the left field line. Here is Troy Fryman, singled and homered. His home run back in the 5th inning, making it 2-0. His single in the 3rd inning also ended up being a run. So he scored both runs of the game. Sinker that misses for ball 1. Troy Fryman, this was his 5th home run of the year.
Oh, watch, he gets good extension on it. Good hand action there. Pulls it down the line, which is the shortest distance here in this ballpark. And hits it out of the ballpark.
Troy Fryman, only 23 years of age. Brother Travis, an all-star with the Tigers. Strike of the outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Travis with 18 home runs in Detroit. I have a feeling, though, Troy, if he played in Detroit, would have a few more home runs.
I was going to say, you got to remember where they're playing. One's playing in a big ballpark, the other one in a bandbox.
Troy says the big advantage to his brother being in the big leagues is that anytime he needs equipment, he calls Travis, and Travis sends it to him. You know, he needs shoes, bats, new glove.
Yeah, but one's left-handed.
Travis has connection.
Oh, he's got connection. Okay.
He's in the show.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's a good point.
And you know what Glenn DeSarcina said? He said the same thing. Gary keeps him supplied with bats and shoes, gloves.
Kind of reminds you a little bit of the Bodine brothers, right? How they work together.
Besides, Troy Fryman throws right-handed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. See. So are you talking about the Beverly Hillbillies?
No.
Jethro Bodine?
No.
You're talking about the Bodine brothers.
Oh, the Bodine brothers. Yeah, those guys.
Yeah. I thought you were talking about Jethro and Granny and everybody.
No.
Boy, howdy, you had me going there for a moment.
I was watching auto racing this afternoon, and that came to mind.
The Bodine brothers.
Yeah.
That's a ball. Now, are they pretty close, are they, the Bodine brothers?
Yes. They get real close sometimes. Even when they're in cars, separate cars.
2-0 Birmingham. We're in the top of the 7th inning from Memphis. Troy Fryman with a 3-2 count now. Randy Hood at first. Canale plays behind him over there. There goes Hood as Torres. Viene a bola. Saca foul. Still 3-2.
I'm just getting my translation book out on that.
Oh, did I lapse into Spanish there for just a second?
Just for a second there. But I was on track with that. I took a couple of years in high school, and I played with David Concepcion and Tony Perez, so I knew what those few words meant. Don't get any deeper, though.
3-2 the count. Now Torres looks the runner back at first. Hood, Canale behind him. The infield playing this left-handed swinger to pull. There goes Hood. High in the air, foul off the right field side. So Fryman battling it out here with Dilson Torres with 2 down in the 7th inning. Troy came into the game hitting only .227, but as we mentioned, he's hit better than .350 now in his last 20 games. Elvis says, Sports Center next. Next. Everybody presumes here in Memphis, printed, speak for the king.
Yeah, they do.
3-2 the count. Well, it is Elvis week. Now Canale broke into the bag at first base behind the runner Hood.
Hey, when the game's over, we can drive over to Graceland.
Yeah, you want it?
Yeah, let's take a ride over. We have to go in your car. I walked.
Travis flies out to the right fielder, Phil Hyatt. That's it. Phil Hyatt will be coming up. 2-0 to Memphis, nothing. John Miller, Joe Morgan with you. Michael Jordan, we were hoping to see him play tonight, but he got injured Friday. He's here, but has not been playing. But nonetheless, he has played all year long for this Birmingham Ball Club. He's hit 2 home runs. The first one about 10 days ago, July the 30th, in Birmingham. This was from a home video recorder. And then just a few days ago, his second home run, also in Birmingham.
Well, John, the first one looked like a beautiful swing. The second one looked like he just kind of muscled it out. And he's going back into the clubhouse. He's going to get some more ice on his shoulder.
And then you see the trainer there trailing him on the way in there. Well, Michael Jordan with a couple of home runs here in the pros. And Bo Jackson, a fellow two-sport star, had some thoughts about that.
I'm happy for him, but he knows what it feels like to score 63 points in a basketball game. He knows what it feels like to hit a home run. But I think you get the same high from each. And Michael, he's blessed enough to experience something that only a handful of people have done in this century. So I am proud of it.
Indeed. Only a handful of people in this century.
Well, I guess the real point there, John, it's a lot easier to hit a home run than it is to score 63 points, I think.
Although, so far, maybe not in Michael's case. To center field, and Phil Hyatt is retired. The catch made by Valerie. I mean, let's face it, he's scored 40, 50, 60 points a lot. But maybe now, with those home runs coming as close together as they did, maybe he's...
Well, I think he's getting stronger.
Yeah.
You know, his swing is he's getting a little more bat speed. I talked to him before the ball game, and that's one of the things he's been working on. Trying to get a little more hand speed, a little more bat speed.
This is Les Norman, the cleanup hitter. Norman got real hot on their just concluded road trip. Bullpen activity for Memphis, meanwhile. The last of the seventh inning. That one is belted down the left field line, base hit. And it will roll right off the wall. The carom is played by Hood, and into second with a double is Les Norman. On to the third hit for Memphis.
And the first one that's really been crushed and pulled hard into the corner. He got out in front of that fastball and pulled it down the left field line. Now take a look at this swing. Fastball in the middle of the plate in. He rips it down the left field line. We should also make mention that the infield here is AstroTurf, and then it's a natural turf, meaning grass field, in the outfield. We didn't point that out maybe, but that's exactly the way this field is built.
There's ball one to Andy Stewart. 6,859, the paid crowd tonight. And the season's total attendance so far here in Memphis, nearly 250,000 for AA ball. 226,000. It's excellent. And minor league baseball has really undergone a renaissance these last few years. Off the glove. There's Fryman over the glove at first of Robertson. Hits the dugout railing. Everybody is safe. Norman takes third, and Stewart is safe at first. Bertotti got a glove on it. It rolled to Fryman, and his hurried throw to first was too high.
Well, it should be scored a base hit and an error on Fryman because he allowed the runner to go to third base. This ball's hit off the glove of Bertotti. Now, this is a tough play. He comes in, he barehands it, he fires. He would have had the runner, but you can see that's a tough play. That should be scored a base hit and an error.
Well, I agree with you, because the fact of the matter is, and that was, by the way, DeSarcina, not Fryman. It'll be scored an error all the way, but when a guy makes a barehanded pickup and that sidearm across the body throw, I mean, he could have stopped,
and
set himself, and threw overhand, and the guy would have been safe by 4 feet, but he wouldn't have gotten the error.
That's true.
That becomes more than ordinary effort. So that is the 50th error charged to DeSarcina this year. The batter, Strickland, and it falls in front of Hood in left field. Norman scores. Stewart being waved home. He'll score to tie the game. And to third is Strickland. 2-2.
Well, they're starting to pull the ball against Bertotti. The right-handers are, so maybe he's slowing down just a little bit. Here's a fastball, middle of the plate in. Now, when Hood comes in, he has no chance of catching it in the air. Really, he should have played it on the hop, but he tries to make the diving catch. The ball gets past him, and before he can get the ball back in, it's a triple. Now, watch the dive. I mean, he came up way short on that. No chance, really. He just misjudged the ball.
Now, that's kind of a play where the thinking was wrong.
Right, exactly. It wasn't the effort, but the thinking.
I mean, when you're ahead in the late innings like that, you've got to be conservative because you want to stay away from the extra base hits with 2 men out like that. A single would have been 1 run. And I'm sure that his manager, Francona, will be talking to him about that thinking when he gets back to the dugout.
Yes, they're going to play the infield in. They can try to cut off the go-ahead run at the plate. But again, this is an AstroTurf field, as you can see there. The infield is all AstroTurf, and the outfield is natural grass. So when you play the infield in, you really offer an opportunity for a ground ball to get past you very quickly.
This is George Canale, veteran, big league experience, 4 major league home runs in the 3 different short looks he got with the Milwaukee Brewers. George Canale, he has struck out looking, and he has flied to left center. Bullpen activity for the Barons now. Runner at third, a 2-2 tie. That's foul on the first base side. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Canale. Steve Jachowski is the right-hander warming up in the Barons bullpen. There he is, number 52, Jachowski. No relation to Mike Krzyzewski. Too high. Still bringing it in 90 miles an hour there.
That was a good pitch, trying to get the strikeout, get Canale to swing at that pitch. He has lost a couple of miles an hour off his fastball. The one that was hit to left field for the triple was 88 miles an hour, down from 92 at the beginning. Good pitch there.
Foul ball.
Like a sinker or an off-speed pitch down and in, he was going to get a ground ball if Canale would have put it in play. So you need a strikeout here or a ground ball.
Two and 2 the count. To Canale. And that's foul again right down toward the bullpen. On the way to Steve Gaikowski coming up in the bullpen. He and Jachowski are the same guy.
Kind of like the Bodine brothers and the Bodine brothers. Same guys, right?
No relation to Jethro Bodine.
Yeah.
Steve Gaikowski is the name. 2 and 2 the count to Canale. 3 and 2. There's a right-handed hitter on deck. That is Caraballo. 2-2. The mistake in left field by Randy Hood, turning what would have been an RBI single into a 2-run triple. Struck him out, a pitch in the dirt. Swung at ball 4 there.
I'm wondering if this pitch hits the dirt.
Third baseman number 14.
Yeah, well, if he's not out. That was my point. This is strike 3, but the catcher doesn't catch it cleanly, and he doesn't tag the runner out, but then the runner starts back toward the dugout that makes him out. It becomes an out then. Someone should have told him to run.
6 strikeout for Bacciati. 2-2 as he and Tremi talk it over. 2-2 in the last of the 7. Terry Francona, the manager here at AA for the White Sox farm team from Birmingham.
And did we mention he was minor league player of the year? Manager of the year.
Manager of the year.
Last year, in '93, he was minor league manager of the year. And in talking to Terry, he says he likes managing these young players, but he doesn't know how long he wants to be a manager. But he wants to stay in the minor leagues working with young players.
Francona, in his second year managing here in Birmingham, and his ball club won the Southern League Championship last year. They won the second division championship, then they defeated Nashville in the playoffs and defeated Knoxville for the championship. And that's a base hit for Caraballo. Coming in to score is Strickland, and it is 3-2. Memphis has gone ahead.
Well, of course, that's good hitting by Caraballo just to drive, a 2-out base hit. after the strikeout of Canale, give your team the lead. That's a perfect clutch situation. Let's take a look at this pitch. We've seen about 4 of these pitches that are about belt high and middle of the plate. And those are the ones that have been hit this inning off of Bertotti.
Now the 9th place hitter, Darren Burton. Now Burton was upset that he was hitting 9th with the ESPN Sunday Night Baseball in town. He went in and had a little meeting with his manager, Ron Johnson. And Johnson said he's got the ability to be a leadoff man in the big leagues. He's a definite prospect, but he's one of the younger players here. Still very raw yet. And he thinks hitting 9th takes a little of the heat off of him. And when a guy hits 9th, less seems to be expected. So they're trying to take as much heat off of him. But nonetheless, he didn't want to be the guy hitting 9th on national television.
Well, when you're a young player, sometimes you do not know what's best for you. Sometimes your ego gets in the way, and that's what managers are for. Try to make the proper decisions. Hey, John, I want to take you. We know Elvis was supposed to be here with Elvis Week. We haven't seen very many Elvis impersonators here tonight, but I want to tell you someone else is here. Pat Rogers, the mother of Kevin Rogers of the San Francisco Giants, is here, and she wanted me to tell Kevin hello. He's out in California, recuperating, ready to pitch when the Giants come back.
They tell me they have missed him badly this year.
They definitely have missed him a lot.
Now join ESPN tomorrow at 1:30. Elvis Says. SportsCenter is next. Thank you, Elvis. Wise men say only fools rush in. Elvis said that too.
Oh, okay.
See? Where wise men fear to tread.
I read that in the book.
But I can't help falling in love with you, baby. Yeah. Dreams come true in blue Hawaii. One for the money, 2 for the show, 3 to get ready, and go, cat, go. But don't you step in my blue suede shoes. You can do anything. But lay off of them blue suede shoes.
John, don't be cruel.
Wait a minute, who said that? Okay. That's ball 4 to Darren Burton. And the ballpark organist is whipping everybody up into a party mood here. Not everybody, but some people. We're going to have a pitching change now. That's going to do it for Bertotti. Just kind of ran out of steam here in the 7th inning. 3 runs in for Memphis. Gaikowski is coming into pitch, and we will return to Memphis after this. Memphis with a 3-run rally here in the 7th is taking the lead in this ball game, 3-2, last of the 7th. A pitching change now for Birmingham. Steve Gaikowski, 24-year-old right-hander from Seattle, has come on in relief of Mike Bertotti. Domingo Mota with runners at first and second. He's the leadoff hitter, and he is 0 for 3 in the game. Grounded out and twice has flied out. And foul ball makes it 0-1. The runners, Gary Caraballo, whose single put the Chicks ahead. He's at second base. And Darren Burton, who just walked, is at first base. The big hit of the inning, the 2-run triple by Chad Strickland that tied the game. Mota, the 8th batter of the inning. Caught by D. Sarcina, and that ends the inning. 3 runs, 1 of them earned. We head to the 8th inning now. It is 3-2. Memphis. Calm down now. This ESPN baseball special is brought to you by Allied Signals Fram filters. You can pay a little now or a lot later. Beale Street in Memphis. The location of B.B. King's. Memphis. Birthplace of the blues.
Yeah, Memphis. There's BB's bar and grill. What is that, a restaurant? Or a jazz club, a blues club?
I have a feeling that it's a blues
club. Yeah.
Number 34, Chris Eddy.
A new pitcher.
Number 6, Julio Nunez.
And Chris Eddy, the left-hander, comes out of relief of Dilson Torres, and Rogelio Nunez will pinch hit for catcher Chris Tremmy. Nunez, a switch hitter. Here's Chris Eddy's numbers. Eddy making his 37th appearance, 6-1. He's been kind of one of the setup men. The closer right now is a guy named Rod Myers. He bluffs the bunt, takes one in the dirt. Does Nunez for ball 1. 3-2, Memphis out in front. Now, Memphis, remember, is one game out of the wild card running. Will affect the wild card running in its division in the Southern League. Called a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike. Came tonight to watch Michael Jordan. Unfortunately, he was injured, making a dive for a ball Friday. But we've been trying to cover his progress. But his feelings have been about his play so far, his manager, some of his teammates, and other big leaguers. And we have a few other things we are going to add to that Michael Jordan story before we're finished tonight, as we are into the late innings here. Doug Brady, the leadoff man, is on deck, and it's right up the middle and through. No, nice play, but it's too late at first base. Mota got to that ball, but Nunez was too fast to get.
Mota shows a lot of range on the play, because on this AstroTurf, the ball goes through that infield pretty quickly. And this is up the middle. He stretches out, grabs it, but his momentum carries him too far into the outfield for him to be able to make a good, strong throw to first base. But a good play.
Now here's Doug Eddy, Doug Brady, the leadoff man. Chris Eddy is the pitcher. Doug Brady is the batter. He's 0 for 3. Bluffs the bunt, takes low for ball 1. Base stealers in the league. At third, they're playing him shallow. Possible tying runners at first base with nobody out here in the 8th inning. Over at third base, Gary Caraballo. Now he comes over to talk to Eddy, the pitcher. Caraballo is the man who drove in the go-ahead run for Memphis in the 7th inning. In the bullpen, the closer for the Chicks, Rod Myers, is now warming up. A little hard thrower. 2-0 the count. He's not bunting now, and takes low. Ball 3. Glenn DeSarcina, who's had 2 hits tonight, is on deck. Brady has hit in 23 consecutive games, but is hitless tonight. 3-0 the count. 3-1.
Well, it looks like a perfect time for a hit and run.
All right, so you're going to send. You're sending Nunez.
I'm sending him.
He's got some speed. We saw that.
Right.
He easily beat out that play at first base.
Plus, you have a hot hitter at the plate.
Francona calls a hit and run. Base hit. Beautifully executed. Maybe right through the right side, and Nunez will take third.
Maybe I could manage, John.
In Double-A?
Yeah. Maybe I could.
Very nice call there, Joe.
Yeah, maybe I could manage.
Hey, but let's face it, if you didn't have Brady executing, you'd look like a bum.
Yeah,
but I make the right call, but the guy's got to execute.
Yeah, but he's got a 23-game hitting streak. He wants to execute. This may be his last at bat in the ball game. Open a hole for him, and he finds it.
So you got the right man for the job.
Right man for the job. That's why I called it. But good hit and run there by the Barons, and it's
brilliant call by you.
Yeah, and by Francona, he actually had to execute it, John. I'll give him credit. I didn't tell you I had a microphone hidden inside his jersey down there, and I just called that.
Now Rod Johnson out there visiting with his infield at the pitcher's mound. And we've been following the Michael Jordan saga here tonight. We asked the great hitter Tony Gwynn about Michael.
They don't have enough time to spend, don't have enough time to invest time and effort, invest money and everything on guys who are 32 hitting a $190. But because he's Michael Jordan, he's going to get that opportunity, which to a lot of people is unfair to a lot of other minor league guys who've worked so hard to try to get there. But like I said, the man is probably one of the best athletes in the world. And when the best athlete in the world says, hey, I want to play baseball for you, you're going to say, hey, suit up, Mike. Let's go. Let's see what you can do.
There's strike one to Glenn DeSarcina. And not many 31-year-olds would have been given that chance. But that's not the issue. I mean,
no, that's not the issue.
It was Michael Jordan. And I think that's what Gwynn is saying. Hey, grab a bat, get him a uniform. Glenn DeSarcina hitting only .249 at game time, but this young infielder has been coming on of late. DeSarcina with 2 more hits tonight. 29 for his last 86, about a .340 pace in his last 21 games. The middle infield double play depth. They would give up the tying run here to get the double play. Now the third baseman Caraballo and the first baseman Canale are in. Canale is right on the bag at first base with Doug Brady. Now Brady, that's another thing they have to worry about. He has 30 steals and is 3rd in the Southern League in that category. He's liable to go. DeSarcina helped out Eddie on that one. 0-2 the count. He really chased a bad one there. Slider down and away. Francona flashes some signs.
Actually, a very good pitch there by Eddie, though. You can get left-handers to chase that slider down and away if you throw it hard enough, because it appears to be a fastball, and they go after it, and by the time it gets to the plate, it breaks off the plate outside.
One and two. Glenn DeSarcina at the University of Massachusetts, as was his brother Gary of the Angels, and also his Uncle Joe.
Uncle Joe, okay.
Yeah. I know a lot of people consider you Uncle Joe, but we don't mean you. 1 ball and 2 strikes to DeSarcina. Another real tough pitch, and this time he's able to fight it off. Foul ball. Still 1 and 2 to DeSarcina.
John, I want to address one of the things that Tony Gwynn said in the statement about, Michael's 31 years old and you wouldn't get the opportunity. That may be true. But remember one thing, everyone in the minor leagues is not trying to get to the big leagues. You have some guys in the minor leagues who are career minor leaguers, who are also over 30, still playing, who are playing in the minor leagues for their own, gratification. And I think, that's what Michael Jordan is doing. Just because you're in the minor leagues does not mean that you're trying to get to the major leagues. Some guys are past their peak and past their prime. But they like playing baseball, so they're still in the minor leagues playing.
It's the way they choose to make a living.
Right.
Struck him out. Well, he stayed with that slider and finally got him. A big out there. Possible tying run still over there at third base.
Another good pitch by Eddie. Now watch, this pitch is down and away. You can see that DeSarcina, he pulled way off the pitch. No chance to even make contact with that pitch. He was pulling away.
Here now is Mike Robertson. Robertson has struck out and twice has grounded into double plays. Now this is the man they want to have up there. He's their best hitter. First and third, 1 out. The infield double play depth. The double play will end the inning with Memphis still holding the lead. Let's see how they play the shortstop. Halter moving back over to short. He was kicking some dirt around there, but the first baseman, Canale, on the bag with Doug Brady. And still Brady might run at some point here. Possible tying runners at third base. That's Rogelio Nunez, led off with a pinch hit single. And then Brady, on a hit and run, singled him to third. He's at first base. Ron Johnson, his Memphis team with a 1-run lead. It's a soft fly ball in there, base hit. Coming in to score is Nunez, and it is tied up. Brady stops at second, and Robertson gets it done. It is 3-3.
It's actually a good pitch by Eddie, except it's up. He broke the bat of Robertson, but he gets a base hit. The only bad part of this is, well, it's not really up, but he breaks his bat. The pitch is in where he wanted it. Broken back single to right field.
Now here's Shane Turner, and a base hit could put Birmingham ahead. Turner singled his first time. He struck out and grounded out since. Another former big leaguer. That's why he's hitting cleanup, Francona says, in his young ball club. He likes the fact that Turner's been around a while, knows his stuff, and he's one of the guys you're talking about, Joe. He's bounced around a lot, been with a lot of different teams and different organizations. Two on, one out. And a curveball that misses. 2-0 the count here. Now next Sunday, if the strike has ended, we will be at Shea Stadium, New York. Mark Grace and the Chicago Cubs, Sammy Sosa, will take on Bobby Bonilla and the New York Mets. That's if the strike has ended. Otherwise, we'll have alternative programming, but 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific, 7 Central. Elvis sings, "Please Negotiate." That's the feeling from Memphis. Back to action, Shane Turner, fastball for a strike, 2-1.
Good fastball there from Eddie over the outside corner.
Foul back, 2-2. By the way, with this telecast on ESPN tonight of this Southern League game, I wanted to mention that the Birmingham Barons have announced that they will donate all their revenue from these national television appearances to local charities and the Michael Jordan Foundation. Barons president, general manager Bill Hardkoff said that the national television attention is because of Michael Jordan being on the roster. Runners are going. Throw to third. Nice play there at third base by Caraballo to keep that run going into left field, but Brady has stolen third and Robertson second on the double steal. And the count is 3-2 to Shane Turner now, with runners at second and third with one away.
I think you see Terry Francona's influence, big league influence taking place here, making something happen, being aggressive, and the runners take off, because it's difficult to steal third with a left-handed hitter up because the catcher has a clear shot at third. But as you mentioned, good play by Caraballo just to keep the ball on the infield.
31st steal for Brady. Caught at third by Brady, or by Caraballo. The runners get back. Brady, the runner at third, to get back as Caraballo made the catch. 3-3 in the 8th inning. And for just a moment, it looked like Birmingham was going to go ahead.
Or this is good base running by both of the base runners. Great play by Caraballo to come up with it, but you can see the runner at third base gets back. Now watch Brady. He takes off. Now he sees Caraballo come up with it. Now he hustles back to third base.
Well, that's going to do it for Chris Eddy, as Ron Johnson goes to his bullpen for his closer, Rod Myers. Second and third, 2 down as Myers comes in. It is 3-3, and we'll be back. There's Rod Myers. He's the closer for Memphis, and right now he's just trying to close the inning out with the game tied. Myers, in 33 games, has a .99 earned run average. Runners at second and third, 2 down. The batter, Kerry Valerie, and he takes high for ball 1. Valerie 0 for 3 in this game. Also, a new second baseman has come on. Brady Stewart in place of Domingo Mota. Brady Stewart now at second base. There's the runner at third base, Doug Brady. And there's the runner at second, Mike Robertson. Robertson's single tied the game in this inning, an RBI single. Ball's ready to go in anything. 2 down in the 8th inning. Fastball up and in. Myers is a hard thrower. He used to be a starter, but he was having some bicep problems. And then they thought, let's try him out in the bullpen, where he just works much shorter periods. And he's had great success. Now they're grooming him to be a closer in the Kansas City organization. 7 saves. 91-mile-an-hour fastball there, but too high. So he's not getting it where he wants. The left-handed batter, Coughlin, is on deck. And a strike, 3-1.
Looked like he took a little off to get that over the plate.
Toward the middle, and off the glove of the diving Halter into center field. 2 runs will score. First Brady and then Robertson, and it's a 2-run single for Kerry Valerie. And his first hit of the game is a clutch 2-out, 2-run single in the 8th inning that has put Birmingham back ahead. It is 5-3 for Birmingham.
Well, we've seen some good clutch hitting here, and Valerie grounds this ball right up the middle. A diving attempt there by Halter, and he can't come up with it. 2-run score. And that's what we're talking about, that AstroTurf. The ball just kind of shoots through the infield. A good clutch hitting there by Valerie, and also earlier in the ball game by Carabello.
So charge all 3 of the runs of the inning to Chris Eddy. And a big hit for Kerry Valerie, who's been struggling of late. He got his average up over 300. There he goes. Here's the throw. Swing! Valerie with his 29th steal of the year. And for the first time in the game, we're really going to look at this Birmingham running game now. That is the 140th steal of the year for Birmingham. This is their 132nd game, so they like to run.
Well, he got an excellent start at first base. Good pitch to throw on. The throw is in the dirt. He had an opportunity if he makes a good throw.
I mean, that pitch is almost like a pitch out.
Yeah, that was a high fastball. He came out of the box well. He just did not make a good throw.
So Birmingham with 2 of the league's leading base stealers. Doug Brady got number 31 in this inning. Now Valerie with number 29. The league's leading stealer is Kerwin Moore of Huntsville. Eric Owens of Chattanooga second, and then Brady. And then Valerie. Kevin Coughlin, 1 for 3 in the game. Singled his last time. Over the head of Myers. The new second baseman, Brady Stewart. Nice play. That's the inning. Birmingham back ahead 5-3. Halter, then Hyatt and Norman, the big hitters coming up. 5-3, the Barons leading the Chicks here in the home of the Chicks, Memphis. Coming up after the game, stay tuned for Sports Center. Dan Patrick and Keith Olbermann. The Sunday conversation will be with Nick Price. PGA Championship and the World Basketball Championships. And no Major League Baseball highlights on what would have been, Joe, I know, a great day in the majors.
Yeah, I think Matt Williams would probably have about 45 or 46 by now. Griffey would have 42.
Oh, now you're like overstating it.
Well, that's what we have to do. That's, you know, the fantasy league now.
Now, Matt Williams with 43 homers in 115 games. At that pace, he was on pace for 61. And he was still close to Maris. Maris at this time, though, in 61, was in a stretch where he hit 7 home runs in 5 games. And now we know that Matt Williams will not be hitting any 7 home runs in 5 games. He's not getting a chance to even play those games.
Well, they didn't have labor disputes when Babe Ruth was playing.
Oh, yes, they did.
Or Roger Maris.
They just didn't have any options.
Didn't have any work stoppages. Huh?
Hey, Babe Ruth, between the 1926 and 27 seasons, he threatened to become a movie star. In fact, went out to Hollywood and made a movie. Wasn't very good. They just didn't believe him. And he held out. He vowed he wasn't going to come to spring training. Said he was going going to go into vaudeville. That winter, he played vaudeville. He had some kind of an act. Shane Halter down on strikes against Steve Gankowski. One away.
Well, fastball on the outside corner. Maybe that's a little slider or cut fastball.
Well, that'll bring up Phil Hyatt. Now, he's the big gun in this Memphis batting order. Phil with 15 homers, 55 driven in, and a .299 average coming in. And it's a base hit. Third baseman Shane Turner finally got there, but I don't think he had a play one way or the other. Hyatt is a very fast runner. He's a big guy, but he's very fast.
That was one of those you let go and hope it goes foul on this AstroTurf. But they had no chance of throwing Hyatt out on this play. See, the ball may bounce foul right there. In fact, it's going towards the line if you let it go. But they choose to try to make the play, and it doesn't come off.
So here is Les Norman. And Norman is the possible tying run of the game. Memphis. 10 former Memphis Chicks are now in the Hall of Fame. Joe. Can you name at least 5 of them? Now, don't look them up. Here's ball 1-2. I'll give you a couple moments to think about it. Hey, this is fair. Okay. I'll give you one hint on one of them.
Okay.
It was a shortstop, and they called him Little Louie.
Oh, well, I mean, I knew you were I was going to say Aparicio before you gave me that hint.
Okay, so so you knew that one.
Let's see.
A pitcher who was a great pitcher on the 27 Yankees with Babe Ruth. The winningest pitcher on that staff.
Lefty Gomez.
And then he became a great broadcaster for many years in a city that you're familiar with.
Wade Hoyt.
Very good.
See, I'm good at this. You just have to give me a second.
Hey, you don't even have to say that. It's obvious.
Yeah, Wade Hoyt.
2 down. Here's Andy Stewart, 0 for 3. Runner at first. That's Hyatt. Andy Stewart just brought up from A-ball. He was at Wilmington. And Ron Johnson says, Wilmington, what a great place to be a manager and to play ball. That's A-ball. So they average 5,000 a game up there. And the whole town just loves the ball club. So here's Andy Stewart. He's from Canada. All right. Here's one. I'll give you a hint on this one. Luke Appling. All right. Here's one. This is a good one. This guy hit .393 in 1930 in the National League and did not win the batting championship. He was with Brooklyn.
393?
393 and did not win the batting championship.
Was he nicknamed the Babe?
Well, I can only give you so many hints.
Well, how about Babe Herman?
Very good.
Hey, man, I told you I'm good at this stuff.
Man.
I'm good at this.
Just 7 more to go.
Well, they may get 3 outs before.
0-2 the count. And back to first is Andy Stewart. Also, a guy who played here in Memphis for the Memphis Red Sox in the old Negro Leagues. And he played here from 1922 until 1946, and he's in the Hall of Fame. He had a great nickname.
Yeah, but that one's easy.
Okay, what is it?
He's the guy that, you know, he'd turn out the light and be in bed before it got dark in the room, right? Cool Papa Bell.
Cool Papa Bell.
Yeah, I knew that. Lee May told me that.
That's a central page. In the old Negro Leagues, when they traveled, they often had to share rooms and even share the same bed. And Satch said he'd be in bed and Cool Pop would turn off the light and be back under the covers before the lights went off. Said he once hit a line drive toward center field and he slid into second and the ball hit him in the seat of the pants. Now that's fast. 1-2 the count in the right field. One really sailing, but Coughlin stays with it, and that is the inning. We're heading to the 9th inning. Randy Hood will lead it off. 5-3. 9th inning from Memphis. 5-3. Birmingham ahead.
Well, John, we talked about in my discussion with Michael Jordan, some of the changes he's made since spring training. On the left is a spring training shot, and on the right is his present batting stance. You see the difference. Take a look at his swing. It's a pretty good swing there on the left. Pretty good extension. Another pretty good swing. I think Michael's problem, as we talked a little bit, is a little bit more with hitting in the zone. He does not have a lot of bat speed going through the zone, and that was one of the things that Tony Gwynn mentioned about him before, that he does not have a lot of bat speed going through the zone, and a lot of that comes from not swinging a bat for so many years. It takes a little while to build up some bat speed, and I think that's what he's doing now. And that's why, you know, I'm probably more optimistic about Jordan doing better, even if he wouldn't have been hurt this year, and maybe next year doing better, simply because it takes a while to adjust to playing professional baseball. And he's just now getting a little bit more bat speed, and that accounts for the 2 home runs that he's hit lately. You get a little more bat speed, and the ball goes a little farther.
Here's Randy Hood. He's at left field tonight instead of Michael Jordan. The pitcher, Rod Myers, and there is a strike. Hood is lined out to right center, grounded to second, and he has walked. Tomorrow night here, they'll play the final game of this 2-game series in Memphis. We will not be covering the game.
We could stay over.
Do you want to?
Yeah, we could stay over. Kind of reminds me of my minor league days, and those were enjoyable times.
You have a
kind of like my big league days too.
You have a very good memory. I mean, you broke into the big leagues to stay in '65. 30 years ago was the last time you played in the minor league.
I played 2 years in the minor leagues.
Yeah.
That's your experience in the minor leagues. You never forget them. You know, it's your first.
It's your first go-around in pro ball?
Right, first one. You never forget that.
Strike 3, Randy Hood down on strikes, 1 away. Now, when Michael Jordan hit his first home run, he paid a tribute to his father, who always had the dream that he'd play in the pro ball. This is the home run, week ago Friday. Now watch what he does. Just a acknowledgement and a little tribute to his dad. Ball 1 to Troy Fryman, single and a home run. Jordan's family, by the way, was in the stands when he hit that home run.
And there you see the gesture again. And that had to be emotional for him, just your first home run, and also knowing that you're doing it for your dad.
And that's a called strike. 2-1. By the way, tomorrow, you know, the minor leagues, they are always looking for new promotions and ways to get people in the ballpark. Caraballo near the bag. He got it. Round number 2. Tomorrow night, all general admission tickets here at Tim McCarver Stadium will be available for the price of Michael Jordan's batting average, $1.92. Hey, we could just forget about broadcasting the game tomorrow night and just show up and buy a couple of general admission seats. Only cost us
$1.92.
Only cost you less than $4, Joe, to get the
both of us in, huh?
Yeah. I'd buy a hot dog.
I remember the first time I heard that expression used. Willie Stargell, who I grew up, you know, admiring there in the Bay Area, and Willie had played pro ball before I did. He came back one year, and I said, "You have a good year?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "What'd you hit?" He said, "I hit $3 and some change." I'm being honest, I didn't know what he meant. Kind of like your description of the playoff system here. I didn't understand that either.
Well, I'll get into it again.
Oh, no, that's okay. That's okay.
We go to the last of the night. Last chance for the Chicks. Last Chicks chance coming up. Last of the ninth inning, 5-3 Birmingham. This is John Miller with Joe Morgan. A new pitcher has come on for the Barons. This is Chris Woodfin. Woodfin has not yet allowed a run in his 6 outings since coming to Birmingham. In fact, in 7 1/3 innings, he's only given up 1 hit.
I talked to Terry Francona about him, John. He said he would be a closer if he had a lead. He throws a squash ball. Now, it's a combination, the Fosh pitch. Remember the Fosh pitch?
Mike
Boddicker threw with a screwball rotation.
Well, no, but that's what Boddicker threw.
Oh, well, he calls it a squash ball.
Ray Miller named Bodeker's pitch.
The Fosh.
It was a combination of a changeup, a dead fish.
Right.
And it was also the screwball. And it kind of dipped like a forkball. It did all three things. So Ray Miller called it the Fosh ball.
Well, Woodfin calls his the squash ball.
I don't like it.
Okay. Hitters don't like it either. They haven't been handling it very well.
All right. Well, once he gets to the show, he can name it whatever he wants.
Right.
Down here, though, Joe, it's just a good change.
Just a good pitch.
Yeah.
All right.
So the Chicks hitter is Chad Strickland. And the Chicks' chances rest with Chad, who is 3 for 3. He drove in 2 runs with a triple back in the 7th inning that tied this game. Ball 1 from Woodfin. Rogelio Nunez, the catcher. After he started the 3-run 8th inning rally for Birmingham with a pinch hit single, the rally that put them ahead 5 to 3. And that's a ball. Talking about some of the players who've come through these 2 cities in years past, Joe. Old friend of yours, guy we both know very well, the third base coach for Oakland, Tommy Reynolds.
Oh, yeah.
Man, he was a great player in Birmingham back in the 60s. It was Oakland's AA team at that time. He still holds the league record. He had 9 RBIs in a game. It's not a bad game. 1964, and he had 3 home runs in 2 different games that year. Tommy Reynolds. Now, did you have any idea that he was that good?
No. I really didn't. I mean, I know you have to do something to get to the big leagues, though.
Now, who's the last guy to have hit for the cycle for the Barons? It happened 27 years ago. Well, Chad Strickland's got a 4-hit game. For 4 for Strickland. Man, are you talking about a guy who could use it? He was hitting 195 at game time.
I mean, a $1.95.
He was hitting a buck, hitting a $1.95.
Well, you got to, if you're going to talk baseball, use the right terminology. That's what Tony Gwynn says. $1.92, $1.95.
My apologies.
Okay.
Won't happen again. Here comes George Canale. Canale hitting $2.36 at game time. High soaring pop-up. Now he's got power, and he'd like to tie this game. So onto the rooftop here at Tim McCarver Stadium. Real strong wind is blowing in from left field here, and has been. Looks like the ball has been carrying well down the right field line, though, tonight.
Yeah, they're giving a little Atlanta Braves kind of chant here.
Cooled off. There's that combination.
Squash.
Yeah. Now I see what you mean.
Okay, it's easier. See, just say squash.
The squash. Canale 0 for 3. And that was a ball. A squash gone bad. Woodfin started the year in Class A ball at Prince William near Washington. And he had a 1.88 earned run average there with 12 saves. Oh,
there he is.
That was a real nasty one.
Real squash.
He squashed him.
Take a look at this pitch. That's a combination change-up screwball. Actually, good pickup there by Nunez. You know, Adley Hammaker was with this ball club. Adley was a former teammate of mine with the San Francisco Giants. And they called him up to their AAA team. He had been here at Birmingham. He was hanging out with Michael.
Well, didn't Hammaker also get called up to the major league just before the strike so that he could go on strike and they could send out one of their young guys?
I didn't read that paper the last day.
Yeah, you better check. Atlee probably needs a place to stay now. Here is Gary Caraballo. Takes a strike at his 0-1. Steve Gaikowski is the pitcher of record for a win in this game. He came on in the 7th inning. Got out of the jam there in relief of Bertotti. Eddie would be the loser, the way it stands at the moment. Sharp breaking ball outside in the dirt, knocked down by Nunez. Caraballo 1 for 3, his single in the 7th inning.
There's Michael.
Put Memphis ahead. Michael Jordan all dressed. He's got to fly back. Is he going to go to Birmingham? He's got to have the MRI done tomorrow. Right. So he won't be with the club tomorrow. But even though he was injured, he made a point that he wanted to be in the dugout in uniform here tonight, rooting on his teammates. Ball 2, 2-1 to Caraballo. Caraballo has 7 home runs for the year. It'd be real tough to hit a home run unless he really pulled it right down the line, because that wind has been blowing in real hard from left field.
Which flag are you watching? Center field flag's not blowing, but these down the line are. Look at it. Very interesting, yeah.
Right up the middle. Base hit. And overrun in center field by Valerie. Back to first will go Caraballo. In at third is Strickland. And Strickland's doing it all tonight. He slowed up at second base and then said, I'm going for it. And in his haste to get the ball and get him, Valerie overran the ball in center field.
The proper play would have been to throw the ball to second base anyway, because Strickland looked like he had an easy route to third base because you keep the tying run at first base. Take a look. Ground ball right back up the middle. Pitcher falls off the mound, not in good fielding position. Now watch as Strickland rounds the bag. Now he decides to go. Center fielder Valerie should have come in and just thrown to second base anyway, which he does. Keep the tying run at first base.
By the way, I asked you about the last Birmingham player to hit for the cycle.
You did?
1967. Reggie Jackson.
Now that surprises me.
1967 in Birmingham at Rickwood Field against Macon.
Well, it surprised me because I would think that Reggie, once he got a couple of hits, he's only going for the big fly. No more singles unless they came first.
Must have had the single first.
Yeah, single first and then the double, and he was going for the 2 big flies, and one was just a triple. He accidentally hit the triple.
Now the record, the Birmingham record for most consecutive hits, which is 11 straight hits, was by a guy that I knew, passed away. I don't know if you knew him or not. He's a great baseball man, Johnny Noon. And he played in the big leagues for many years. Played with Ty Cobb and against Babe Ruth. With the Tigers. In the dirt. And it's 2-1. Johnny Noon once turned an unassisted triple play. One of now, I think, only 9 ever to have done it. And he stayed in baseball right up to the day he died. Scouted for the Milwaukee Brewers in Baltimore. Always used to see him at the ballpark in Baltimore. Gives you an idea, this Birmingham club's been around for a long time.
That's good. That's what, has a lot of history. And I'm sure that there was someone around that says, I saw all the great players play here. I'm sure there's somebody that watched it since it was here.
Well, they have that history. And they had the history with the Barons and the old Birmingham Black Barons as well, as we discussed earlier, with Willie Mays.
Satchel Paige.
Terry Francona. This ball club clinging to a 5-3 lead, but Memphis making noise here in the last of the 9th inning. Darren Burton is the hitter. Burton, a great prospect. The runner from first going, and it's ball 4. Burton gets the walk. The bases are loaded now. And Brady Stewart is due up, but Hugh Walker, a left-handed hitter, will come up and pinch hit. Walker was hurt for 2 months earlier this year. And Ron Johnson said he's just got really quick hands. He's another guy. They got 3 outfielders in this club. All seem to be very good prospects for this Kansas City organization.
Well, Walker was their #1 pick in 1988 also. So you know he can swing the bat.
Bob McDonald warming up in the bullpen. Pitching coach Kirk Champion out to visit his young pitcher. Woodfin is in trouble. There is McDonald. Veteran. He's been around. He used to be with the Blue Jays and with the Tigers. as a Kirk champion. Now join Mike Patrick and Joe Theismann this Saturday night for exhibition football here on ESPN. AFC contenders will be matching up as Thurman Thomas and the Bills meet the Oilers at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio. That's the Bills and the Oilers, Saturday at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ESPN. The bases are loaded for Hugh Walker. Walker hitting .263, 6 home runs. Low. And right now, Woodfin does not seem real sharp.
No, he doesn't. Well, he has not been able to get ahead of the hitter so he can throw the squash ball.
There is Strickland at third base. Caraballo, the possible tying run, is just a base hit away. And there's Burton, the possible winning run. He's a very fast runner. Burton. 1 out. Right over the middle. DeSarcina, only play is the first. Coming in to score is Strickland to make it 5-4. Caraballo to third, Burton to second. So Walker, even in making it out, made it in such a fashion that he leaves his club in still pretty good shape. A base hit could win this game.
I tell you what, that was a great play there by DeSarcina, because that ball looked like it was ticketed for center field. And watch, he gets it on a big hop right there. That's a tough play. He wants to feed it to second, but he can't. So he throws to first to retire Walker. Good play there by DeSarcina.
So it is a 1-run game now with 2 down in the last of the 9th inning. The batter is Shane Halter. Woodfin 1 out away from a save and a victory for his club. And Halter a base hit to the outfield away from winning the ball game for Memphis. He bluffed the bunt in that first pitch.
Well, we couldn't have it any other way, John. Right down to the last out.
We asked both teams if they would mind doing this for us. And that's a ball outside. 2-0. I want to thank Mark McClelland of the Memphis Chicks and Chris Pica of the Birmingham Barons for all their help, so that we at least came close to knowing what we were talking about tonight.
Right. Chris has been in the booth with us most of the evening.
3-0 the count to Shane Halter. And ball 4. Well, that is not the guy to walk. Halter, a .232 hitter, 0 for 3 tonight. Now he's got to face the Chicks' best hitter with the bases loaded and 2 down. The Chicks could hardly have asked for anything more, trailing in the 9th, than to get their best hitter up there with a chance to get it done. Hyatt is 1 for 4 in this game. So Caraballo, the possible tying run at third base, and Burton, the possible winning run at second base. And they will both be running at the crack of the bat. The outfield is straight away. High in the air, deep into right center. Valerie is there. And the ball game is over. Hit real well by Hyatt, but it stayed in the ballpark, and Birmingham hangs on to win it. Gaikowski the winner, Eddie the loser. Woodfin gets the save. Troy Fryman, the game's only home run. That's it. Michael Jordan will find out tomorrow about his health, and we'll keep our fingers crossed about the strike. John Miller for Joe Morgan from Memphis. Good night, everyone.